Never mind me while I'm stepping out my circumference. I feel the nerves trickling down. It's life humbling. My words stutter, stumbling, staggered on court of God. This the life of a jigaboo, introverted, I'm scarred. Whoa. My mother been the melodies while they sing the choruses. Direct message from Slade saying we need more of it. Paranoia in my state. I see envy at high rates. Now it's crop off the fate. Turn great so I fly straight. Was gone for a minute. Now I'm back like an ex with big factors. I see you turn flat like extinct like some raptors. When I drop fruit, prayer, precision, practice and patience, we move to greener pastures. They saying life is a matter of mastering basics and mastering patience. More time I get tired of waiting. Maybe it's fate procrastinating. The times are bad, so it really had me sprung. Like she got me doing things that I never do. You thought that we connected when in fact it was trauma bonding. Just leave it up to me to break the rules, never corresponding. My childhood filled with fence climbs and knee scrapes and bikes and kicking it by the street signs. The older I get, I'm trying to lessen any screen time. The bounce back heavy, I rock steady on climb. This one's a fucking loop. The news will pick and choose whatever truth they wanna give to you. I cannot stomach it, so I poop. Oops. When life turns sweeter, the lemon mouths get louder. But I'm amplified with ghosts from God like that boy Fowler. Working like I got that point to prove. But truth be told, the proof is right in the pudding, no point to lose. 60 for the crepes, yeah, I did that just because. She expecting more, girl, you know I'm saving up. Left me on red, well, it was what it was. Never stress over them joints or in downs when times get rough, so I ghost. Long are the days when we was close, and when I see you, it's like two completely different type of goats. I approach the weekly fire dropping, which I'm feeding. Still, I don't expect to be the one. Your boy having fun, still the songs get spun like Beyblades and teacups. My fun fair to those that ever really know me from jump. So what's up, I've been the one they all depended on like TJ. Now they're dead wilder than a furry knockout punch, leaving them straight stunned. That's hella fun. Through the lot, now you know I'm coming through. When the growth look good on you, best believe they wanna screw now. I've been trying to climb, devil threw me in the dark. Baby, don't be insecure, you can still go make a mark like blow. Could never let them drain my soul now. Blow. Tables turning like doorknobs, wow. Blow. I think I'm about to set sail. I'm a walking, living legend, walking with my chest out. Life keep dealing me cards, I keep feeling it.
Good evening to everybody in the building. You guys already know what time it is. You know the vibes, you know the damn ties. We are back. You guys were obviously with me this morning. We were talking a lot about Mo Salah. We were talking a lot about Liverpool in regards to everything we've kind of seen this season, the problems where it went wrong, and etc. Well, now we're looking to the future. Now we're going to, step into our Oracle bag and we're going to try and figure out what it is that is going to allow for Liverpool, Arne Slot, and everybody associated with Liverpool to be successful. What is it about Arne Slot that makes this guy the right guy for Liverpool Football Club? Is he the right guy? We don't, obviously, of course, we'll never really and truly know until he gets into the job. For all we know, we could be signing, I don't know, Vies Boas as an example. And it could go completely wrong. But I'm hoping it's going to be more, Jose Mourinho than Vies Boas, heading into the future. I'd like to say big up everybody in the chat, watching on Twitter, watching on YouTube. Make sure you do smash the like button, share, and subscribe to the damn channel. I'm joined by my guest this evening, Steve Quasi, and making his debut, Harvey Elliott in the making, young 16-year-old player coming through the Fulham Academy. That is Rax. Big up Rax, big up Steve, big up Quasi. Thank you guys for joining me this evening.
Big up everybody. Big up Rax. Good to see you, man. Big fan.
Big up Rax, man.
Oh, thanks, guys. Make me feel welcome already. And listen, I just want to shout out. That is the best intro in football YouTube, I must say. Gee, you've done amazing. Honestly, listen, you get all these other kind of like crazy, like, don't get me wrong, I'm big into electronic music. You get these like weird electronic music vibes and people playing all kinds of rap. That was the best. That is absolutely the best. So big up. Amazing.
No, man, much love, man. Much love.
Big up, Steve. Good to see you again, man.
What's up, Quasi?
Nice to meet you. Yeah.
Like I said, you guys, you already know the vibes, man. You know why we're here, and I'll get into some of the comments. Big up ends in the chat, and what I kind of really wanted to talk about. Look, I think other than I'll probably say Steve, to be honest, maybe Rax, maybe Quasi, maybe they've obviously they've done their homework, they've done their research. But let's say prior to the announcement that Arne Slot was the man that was going to be in charge of Liverpool, I'm going to say again, and Steve, I'm not even going to include you because I already know the answer behind that. But I'm going to say me, Rax, and Quasi, and to be honest, most people in the chat, I don't think we knew a lot, if I'm being totally honest, about him. In fact, if I asked everybody, and I'm not going to do that because I already know the answer, but if I asked everybody, and if everybody in the chat was true to themselves, I'm pretty sure if you did a short list of 5 managers you wanted to take over for Liverpool next season, I'm 90%, it's going to be about 10% of you that maybe, but 90% of you definitely did not have Slot in your mix. Didn't have him in your shortlist. Not because he isn't a good manager. I'm definitely not saying that. It's just because that might have just not been, someone you maybe have seen, a lot of. I think the closest I had heard of Slot was when Tottenham were in for him last season before they got Ange. That was the depth of.
When they played champs, they did play Champions League this year. They did play Champions League.
I couldn't even name you all the teams in the Champions League this season.
Well, they played Lazio, so that was.
And there you
go.
This is what it is. I think. And I'll ask everybody here on the panel before we, of course, dive in. But I think just for myself, when we're looking at an appointment like this, for me, I don't want to use the word underwhelming because that almost makes it seem almost like when we signed Endo, for example, where it's like, oh, okay, fair enough. But you kind of just you don't really know how to take it because you're almost, yes, you want to, of course, you're going to want to back the manager. You want to do all of these kind of things. But at the same time, and on the flip side, you are also a bit like, okay, maybe we could have, in your eyes anyway, you hope that we could have potentially have gotten better. Maybe he is the best at what we need him to be for next season. Again, we'll dive into that. But that's where I'm kind of at with the appointment. Not excited really and truly. I'm excited at getting into a new phase for Liverpool because I think that's going to be pretty much exciting. But on the flip side, I am a little bit like, yeah, okay, yeah, let's just see, and I don't know what that looks like heading into next season, other than you're just going to kind of sit there and just wait to see. And I don't know what I'm waiting for. I don't know if I'm waiting for it to crash. I don't know if I'm waiting for it to be successful. I don't know how long I'm going to wait for. I just know that I'm waiting. Before we get to you guys, obviously, and I want to get everyone's opinion behind it. If I want to get your opinion in terms of Liverpool even getting someone like Slot. Let me just dive through the comments. Thank you that you like the bloody. It took me a minute to figure out of what to do for the thumbnail. So I appreciate that, bro. I appreciate that. Big up honesty. Of course, yeah, we're in the building, man. We're in the building. We're pushing out that work. My eye is killing me right now, but we're still working. And also remember, guys, 9 p.m. Ends has got a stream at 9 p.m. So yeah, it'll be redirected there anyway. So just make sure you guys stay on. Alexander Mo saying the next gen ain't ready. We'll talk about Mo because I know there's a lot of haters out there, so we'll talk about Mo. Don't worry about that. Quasi and Ends can hold that. Yep, 100%.
Hey, shade.
You guys can definitely hold that. Honestly, I didn't mention Arne Slot because when asked, "Are you leaving?" he said no, and the final CEO said he signed a new deal, so they expected him to stay. That's kind of interesting, to be fair. That's kind of interesting.
Yep, that's why I didn't really think about it either, because I assumed he was kind of taking the Xabi Alonso thing again, but he did that previously with like you said last summer with Spurs. He took another year and that's one thing I do rate about him. But yeah, I agree with honesty. I do agree with him. Yeah.
Big up. Paul Smith, I hear that Slot is a disciple of Pep Guardiola, which is encouraging. I think they're all disciples of Pep Guardiola, if I'm being 100% honest. Honestly, but I'm raised in Rotterdam. Slot brought back what it means to be a Feyenoord fan: passion, love winning, and the never die attitude. The full coming true, and show they can hang with the big boys. Yeah, listen, let's all hope that all of these things will come to fruition. Rax, we'll start with yourself. Arne Slot going to be the new Liverpool man. Talk to me about how you feeling behind it and all that kind of stuff, man.
Look, I'm pretty much in the same boat as you. The first time and the only time I'd really heard of Arne Slot was when he was linked to Spurs.
Yeah,
I didn't even know which club he was managing at the time. I didn't really pay that much attention because Spurs are Spurs, you know. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
What are you gonna do, right?
Yeah.
And he wasn't on my radar. He wasn't on my radar at all, let alone as a Liverpool manager. And you know,
Cool.
I was kind of at the age I'm at the moment. I know you kind of characterised me as a budding Harvey Elliott, but I'm probably old enough to be Harvey Elliott's dad or somewhere close to that. I don't really watch as much European football as I used to when I was younger, and so I'm kind of more unfamiliar with what's going on the continent. And I just assumed that the names that were being put out there, the Alonsos and the Amarims, it was going to be one of those guys. And then the Athletic starts putting out, stories that Amarim is more similar to Klopp in terms of his style of play. And I was like, okay, well, if Alonso doesn't come, then that kind of makes sense, you know. And even since the announcement, I haven't really dived too much into him and his background and stuff. But the sounds that I'm hearing are encouraging. He seems like he's the kind of guy that will get people on side, will inspire, motivate, similar to Klopp. And then there'll be some similarities in terms of the way that he sets out his team and the way that he wants to play. And some differences people have mentioned, like the commenters have said, a bit of a disciple of Guardiola, and there are some crossovers between Klopp and Guardiola. But if we can get the best of both worlds to some extent, or a bit of a hybrid, I think a bit of a change is probably necessary and good for everybody. But we don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater and like go into a completely different style of football, because these guys, but the majority of the squad, have developed under Klopp and have been used to that certain characteristics of that style of play already. So you want to maybe adapt it a little bit, tweak it, but stay the same to some extent as well. So it's encouraging. And look, will it work out? It's difficult for me to say. I don't know enough about him to be absolutely honest, but all you can say is that the sounds coming out and the reports coming out are encouraging. But ultimately, just like with Jurgen Klopp, just like with Brendan Rodgers, just like with all our previous men, you have to do it on the pitch, and he'll be given some time to kind of imprint his style on the team and bed in or whatever. But results are of paramount importance as well. So we welcome you with open arms, and we wish him the best of luck. And but he has to deliver as well.
Nah, I totally agree, man. Quasi, what about yourself, man? Chat to me.
Well, me and Arnie were very good friends back in the day, so I kind of know how he works. Now, I just started my YouTube university on Arnie. My campaign is still strong. I'm going for Zidane. It's not over yet. Until the contract is signed, there's still space for Zidane to.
I believe they're signing it tomorrow, but fair enough.
Coming through the side though, I'm just saying. But upon my research, and just like you, I heard his name last year when Ange and when Spurs were doing their Ange, looking for a new manager. I think the story about him briefly was when he almost won the league during the COVID season and how it was taken away from them. There was a brief information about, hey, this new manager did this and it was taken away. But I was more worried about Liverpool being void. They're trying to void our season. But his tactics, I had nothing about that until recently. But just like Rock said, he is, to me, my question for FSG and Edward is, you told us that you can't find another club. You want somebody different from club. But looking at this guy and listening to my on and off ex-girlfriend, Melissa Reddy, it's identical to Klopp. Right? It's identical
Is this an exclusive, Quasi? Is this an exclusive?
I mean,
it's on his channel.
It's exclusive. It's been going on,
Don't bring me in, so I don't want to get my channel banned for any specific reason. Listen, go send it on your own channel.
It's been going on back and forth, but I'll give you the scoop later, Rex. I'll give you the scoop later. But when you listen to everything they say about him, it's identical to who Klopp is as a person, right? Even some of his tactics, the 4-2-3-1 that he plays reminds me of Klopp when he was at Dortmund,
Yeah.
right? High press, high intensity. I think the only difference with him is Arnie likes to possess the ball a little bit, so I can see why people say he comes from the Pep Guardiola train of thought. And then I think one could be the reason why they chose him is I think it was UG or somebody who said our price asset is Trent. So what are you going to do with him? And then when you look at how he plays his 4-2-3-1, when the ball moves forward, the right back becomes an inverted where they have three pivot. So it becomes like a 3-3-1 or 3-2-2, something like that, right? So you could see where Edwards' mindset is. Also, the Amaron thing, he was just the media favorite. FSG or Edward never said that was the guy. I think they did talk to Alonso because that's a smart thing to do. But Amaran, the last week, the moves that he did tells me that who the hell are you to tell us to? Yeah, we don't play like that. This is Liverpool, right? We don't need that kind of foolishness. We already have our own problems. And now he's had to come back and apologize to his current team because we don't do that. So to me, and I think that was the biggest boss move from Edwards coming back, saying that it's either you do what we want or peace. And I think this is also a message to the players. It's our way, is the Liverpool way, or the door is wide open. So I think that was a great way to show people from the players and any potential person we're going to do business with.
No. We're kind of all singing from the same hymn sheet in terms of myself, Rax, and Quasi. Just before we get Steve's kind of take on it, because I'm actually intrigued. Like I said, Steve will be the one. If you guys got any questions, please forward them to Steve. He will be able to get back to you because he'll be the best one to answer that, as obviously he's seen them a lot more than any one of us here. And I really want to get your take, Steve, just in regards to, in comparison to the other candidates that you saw, with the Amarims, potentially the Alonsos, and then now looking at Slot, how do you compare, in terms of the three or the two there? I just want to quickly get into some questions. And again, big up everybody inside. Make sure you are smashing the like button. Honestly, why can't fans comprehend? Let me just move myself down there. Cool. Why can't fans comprehend that Edwards running the club, FSG, only signs the checks because they are blaming FSG for Amarim not joining LFC and also blame FSG for the Slot appointment? Rex, you take this one.
Yeah, because fans quite often think with their heart or, aren't always the most logical people. Anybody who knows about how the club has been run knows that that FSG signed the checks. They probably have some input, not necessarily in the specific players, but in terms of drawing up a budget and things like that. But ultimately, they leave the football stuff. John Henry is not sitting there with Y-Scout deciding who the next DM for Liverpool is going to be. Like that. Why would he do that? He's got a multi-billion pound empire to run.
Yeah.
Like, with all due respect, obviously we all love Liverpool, apart from Steve. But but he's probably got bigger. Yeah, he's probably got bigger priorities. So Michael Edwards is the guy, and as Quasi said, Michael Edwards. We've seen this. The way that we act in the transfer market and the way we act business wise has been pretty consistent. Whenever Michael Edwards has been around, we saw it with Nabil Fekir. Nabil Fekir, everything was agreed. The guy did his announcement video. He had the shirt on, all that stuff, and then his brother tried to up the transfer demands or whatever. We pulled out. Unfortunately, Nabil Fekir lost out because of that. We've got history of doing this kind of stuff. If you fuck with us, excuse my French, then you're going to find out. And look, Amarim, he was advised, and he was advised poorly. And there's always other people out there. That's the thing. This is why I always say, despite the fact that people get caught up and emotionally invested in players, and I do as well. But ever since the Fernando Torres back in the day, I've taken a step back from players. So I'm not really so much player FC anymore. Players will come and go. There's always going to be good players out there. You've just got to find them. And in the past, Michael Edwards, his scouting network and the people that he's worked with, the people he's brought in at the club, obviously it's not just Edwards. They've done an excellent job, so I have utmost faith for them. And Edwards is running the club now. Edwards is going to empower Richard Hughes, and Richard Hughes and all the analytics team and the scouting team and all these guys are going to work together and hopefully do the best for the club. That's what we all want.
No. Factual. Steve, I'm going to ask you this. You may not answer. Who is Slot's number 2? I haven't actually even checked. I don't know if you know.
Who will be the number 2 with Arne? I don't know off the top of my head, no, but I'm assuming they'll just bring his brother in from wherever. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure if it's number 2. Then again, if I hear the name though, I might recognize it. I'll just look it up. But yeah, I don't know off the top of my head.
No. Cool. Honestly, Arne Slot likes to utilize a back three and build up with the right back drifting into midfield. So expect to see Trent's role continue in the side. So yeah, I think from what we're all kind of gathering in regards to Slot in terms of the way that he wants to play, I'm pretty sure we've all seen enough videos in the last couple of days to kind of see where his head is at in terms of the style of play. You guys obviously, whilst everyone's talking, you'll see on the screen I'm putting up there are 2 kind of on paper formations that we have seen from Feyenoord this season. That is the 4-3-3 and the 4-2-3-1. Both more or less the exact same. Of course, in possession, one will look like the other, vice versa. Yeah. Out of possession, one will look like the other, vice versa. So yeah, and that's what I wanted to also put next to that is the average positions in those games, so you guys get a better indication as to how it does look like on the pitch and little things, like that. But we'll come to Steve. We'll come to my international friend, the guy I will turn to for all things around Europe, along with Michael Talks, by the way, as well. Both of those 2, if I do need any advice or if I need to find out about something across the pond, these are going to be the guys. Steve, listen, he's going to be the manager next season. Looking at his, record, both at Alkmaar and Feyenoord. One, is he a good fit for Liverpool, considering what we want / need moving forward? And when you do compare him to the other candidates, how high would you really rank him amongst the Alonsos, the Amarims, the Zerbis, and Nagelsmanns, and all these kind of guys that we all were kind of looking at?
I mean, it depends what Liverpool fans want. I think for you guys, stylistically and culturally, I think Arne Slot is the guy that I'm surprised you didn't go for initially. Ruben Amorim, I think, might be a more impressive manager, but might not fit as well. I think Arne Slot is, and I actually disagree with the whole Pep disciple thing. He reminds me, if I had to pick, and I'm not really one of those guys where it's like, oh, he's a disciple of this guy. That if I had to go with that route, though, I'd say he reminds me more of Klopp than Pep, if anything. I think the way that he conducts himself, I think the way that Feyenoord play is much more Klopp-like. I think their weaknesses are kind of shared more with the Klopp thing. So, I feel like just in advance, I feel like you are gonna, because you're not a huge fan of the Klopp football, right? You're not
not at all. Not in the slightest.
Okay, so you might not like this guy then. I'm sorry.
It's always great to know that your new manager is like the old manager, but let's continue.
Yeah, but at the same time, I think it makes sense for who you still have in your squad. And I think for me, I don't worry about Arne Slot going to Liverpool. Number one, because you have Michael Edwards back. If y'all didn't have Michael Edwards, I'd have some concerns about Arne Slot. But I think you'll be able to get him who he wants. And I already think you have a good spine and a squad to work with. You need some work. You definitely need some work, particularly the forward line. I think in midfield, you have to use Dominic Szoboszlai a lot better. And I think I know exactly how Slot's going to use like a guy like him. I think you need a striker, not Darwin Nunez. I don't think he's too hectic for this, for the way Slot wants to play. And I do think you need some more technical midfielders because all those guys, Vifa, Clinton Timber, Zaruki, 3 technical players. Like it's a priority because they have to make quick decisions, able to turn, pass, always be able to receive a pass and play it. Stengs has an interesting role in the team. Sometimes he'll play right wing or in the middle. So
I've seen that. Yeah, he shifts position. Yeah, I've seen that.
Stylistically, it makes sense why you hired him. From what I've seen over the years, I've been watching Eredivisie, which is one of my favorite leagues to watch. So, yeah, I like the hire a lot for you guys. I think it makes a lot of sense. It's not a coincidence you ended up with them. Maybe it is for your fans, just because you were looking at 2 other guys, but I think hey, he's like an Eddie Howe. He's like a Klopp. He's a 4-3-3 attack kind of guy. There are some differences, obviously, because again, I think an Eddie Howe and a Klopp don't prioritize technical midfielders like that necessarily. I'm not saying that Bruno G isn't technical or Tonali is. I'm talking about Longstaff. I'm talking about fucking Henderson. Those kind of players don't play at Arne Slot's midfield. They have to have some technical ability for sure. So, and the same thing with the center backs. They have to be competent at that. So, I like the hire a lot for you guys. And to answer your question, Jared, yes, I would have taken him at Newcastle because I think it's an upgrade on on Eddie Howe, to be honest, because he's proven he can win a league in dominant fashion as well. And defensively, they do very, very well, in my opinion. Like defensively, I know that they have better center backs than a lot of the teams in the Eredivisie, but they don't concede many shots even in Europe. Like they did play very well versus Atletico Madrid home and away. So yeah, I like the appointment a lot for you guys. I really do like it.
Steve, can I just start a quick question? He plays a lot like Klopp, but what are the differences, would you say? Are there any glaring differences, or is it more kind of like Klopp with a little bit of, I don't know, someone else sprinkled in? Is it more attacking, more defensive, more aggressive, more passive?
I would say he needs an actual striker. Klopp can do the Firmino thing. It's not like that Slot hasn't ever used like a false 9 because I think he has on a few occasions with Ueda, the Japanese lad at Feyenoord. He's not really had that good a season. But I'd say the other difference is too, like I said, priority of technical midfield is priority. Like if you're not technically like really decent, you don't really play. Whereas with Klopp, you could get away with that, where he's Henderson's not a technical player. Milner's not a poor player, a bad technical player, but like that's not his strength. Zaruki has got a great first touch, great vision. Vifer is more of a runner, but he's still technically sufficient enough and good enough to play in that team. Same with Zaruki, Vifer, and in the past like Kokchu or whatever. So I would say that would be the big differences, and probably another difference is that like he hasn't really figured out which goalkeeper he likes more, Wellenreuther or Bilio. So I think that will be interesting to see if Alisson stays. He does like to mix up his goalkeepers a lot as well. In terms of like Wellenreuther and Bilio, I don't know who's going to play for whether it's a cup game or if it's a champs game or if it's Europa or if it's Eredivisie. He does like to switch them up a lot. So I would say that would be the other kind of difference. Where with Klopp, it's always Alisson. So that'd be kind of the differences, I'd say.
One of the things. Sorry, no, Quasi, you sound like you're back. Go on.
Oh yeah, I was just going to ask him. I know that G showed that he does 4-2-3-1 and 4-3-3. Is he somebody who changes his tactics or formation often, or is it like Klopp who
not really
to perfect his?
No, I'll say that his weaknesses remind me of Klopp's weaknesses, but his strengths remind me of Klopp's strengths. I remember watching. I think the biggest example of that would be when they played FC Twente, probably about 6 months ago. Feyenoord had like 70-something% possession, but off the ball, Sadalak for Twente Ugalde, like those kind of guys. They just out hustled them. It was a lot like the Atalanta Liverpool game. So I think that would be something to look out for. Whenever Feyenoord do slip up, it's in a similar, like honestly, the weaknesses of Klopp, like some of them are shared by Arne Slot. But what I would say about Arne Slot though, that is a strength of his compared to Klopp's, is probably the talent ID. I think for Feyenoord, he puts his best players on the pitch for each game. Whereas with Klopp, it's not like he plays a bad team, but you can look at it before the game and be like, I don't know about that. Why is he playing and him not playing? You know what I'm saying? So I feel like that is something that Arne Slot does get right most of the time. And they've got a good squad. They do have a good squad at Feyenoord, especially with Minta on loan, you know, Paschal, Jakenbash. They do have a good squad. Ivanovic on the left, Croatian wingers really decent. Midfield options, they got a lot of them, a lot of versatility because some guys, Clinton Timber can play. It's like an advanced 8, could play. What's it called? Is it right back to left back? I forget, but I've seen him play a bit everywhere. Same with what's it called? New Cup. So it's an interesting squad they got there. It's interesting.
I think, especially like I was bored this weekend, so I said, let me watch some videos, on Slot in terms of, what he's good at, but what I prefer to do, and this is where I was trying. Well, this is what I was trying to do in regards to Amarim. I wasn't really focusing on his strengths, because strengths are strengths, right? Like it is with every single manager in football has what their strengths are. It's more the weaknesses that I really try to focus on, because of course, and from everything we're hearing, everything we're seeing, everything I've seen, everything we've all seen, from what we've seen is that his weaknesses are quite similar to what Klopp's weaknesses kind of are. And that in itself, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like that's not something that I would be a little bit like, hey, okay, because
I'm giving you in particular a big warning, G, because you've been you haven't been like a huge fan of Klopp and the style of play.
You know what it is? You know what it is? When it comes to Klopp style, I feel is a fantastic style in the short term, in reference to
this short term bag.
Yeah, in the short term, I think, and obviously Klopp needed the players or whatever. But let's say Arne Slot's kind of lucky because he's already got the players. That picture's crazy. He's already got the players in his team, the Van Dijks, the Salahs, and all these Trents, Robertson. He's already got these guys, and he's already got these guys playing at a certain level, right? So he doesn't have to do what Klopp did, which is, oh my goodness, I've got to basically replace the whole team and get them playing in a certain style and blah blah blah. In the short term, those things are magnificent. Something I read earlier on today was about there's something in that he usually takes off his wingers 60th, 70th minute every single game, give or take, every game, purely because of the level of intensity that their wingers are having to play with. Obviously, I've just been scrolling through so you guys can kind of see like a little bit as well, and I'll get a video up in a second. But again, it seems like fullbacks and the wingers in this system are quite pivotal to what we're trying to do, again, because of the intensity. They like to play a high line. They like to play more in the opponent's half. They like to leave a situation where it's sometimes 1 at the back, 3 in front of them, so that it can leave a 3v2 if you're playing against 2 strikers. So very similar with what we do at Liverpool. But we also know at Liverpool, one of the main reasons why I'm not the biggest of fans of Klopp's system isn't because it itself is not good. It can be fine if you can keep refreshing the players. If Klopp was able to do a Man City and every summer he can keep buying players, keep refreshing the squad, it'd probably be like the best tactic, because the level of intensity that you need for that kind of tactic, you need fresh players all the time. We saw what happened last season. We saw it where the midfield completely lost its legs, and we it just looked horrible. It really did look horrible. And that's obviously a main component of their team. Now, I'm not saying that Slot's midfield is going to be that important as opposed to what Klopp's was. It does seem like it's going to be more on the wings, but it seems like he's just more shifted that mentality in the middle to your wide players. So if that's the case, I mean, I've read also again about him needing like the medical staff, like he's very in tune with them in terms of keeping the players fit and things, which is that's great. but you haven't come to Liverpool, buddy. And I'll tell you right now, like, you know, we've got players in our team that you think won't be injury prone, and 2 training sessions in, poof. Now, again, he may adjust his style in terms of training, the way that he plays in the Eredivisie. He's gonna have to adapt it to the Premier League, because he's seen what's happened with Ten Hag. He knew, okay, well, he came over, tried to implement the same thing, didn't really work out for him, and now look at him, he's kind of lost for words at this moment in time. But that's where I'm like, okay, fair enough.
Can I address that actually about the whole Ten Hag thing and why people are worried? Listen.
I don't think he's like Ten Hag, by the way. I don't want to say
but I'm just saying, for people that have that concern, which is understandable, because first impressions, or just impressions in general, can really shape people. But so, okay, what I'm gonna say is that he is going to a far better situation than Man United. He is not expected to do what they're doing at Man United, in my opinion. If you ask different Liverpool fans, maybe some of y'all think you should be title contenders next year, or maybe you just want the top 4 thing. Maybe you want a European. I don't know. But for me, I think it makes sense. Like, I expect you guys next year to be a comfortable top 4 team, make a quarterfinal of the champs, FA Cup and Carabao Cup contenders. That's what I expect. I don't know if Slot next season will immediately come in, with the, start off on fire. I think next season it will be kind of similar to his first year at Feyenoord. They were behind the pecking order of PSV, even AZ and Ajax. So, and the squad there at the time when he inherited Feyenoord's squad was not the best at all. It was a really, really poor squad, but he had some good pieces in there, and he recruited well. Him and Feyenoord recruited very well, and I think he's at a good situation under Michael Edwards. The guy, I rate Michael Edwards extremely highly. He will be able to get who Arne Slot wants. Now, it's just down to the adaptation from Eredivisie to Premier League. That's what it is, and it's been done before. You guys have a Dutch center back. Like you have Cody Gakpo, who I rate him. Just play him on the left wing, and I think he could do a very good job. And you have Gravenberch, who I think will be a key player in this team under Slot. So,
Steve, you mentioned about his talent ID, because I think one of the things that we've talked a lot about is this, Klopp 2.0, Liverpool 2.0, Klopp's rebuild, and all this kind of stuff. And I think we've done okay. We've replaced some players. I wouldn't say all of those players have hit the ground running. I don't think we're anywhere near as strong as we were at our strongest when we've had our best team. So there's been some regression there. For me, the concerning thing is, in the next probably 3 years or so, we're probably going to lose Salah. I would be surprised if Van Dijk doesn't go, and I can see Alisson leaving. And for me, those are the 3 pillars, the 3 cornerstones of
Alisson.
Man. When you have 3 players who are arguably the best in their position and amongst the best players in the world, losing them in the space of a 3-year period, even if you consider some of them to be on a kind of downturn, in terms of their career, they're still up there. Van Dijk walks into any team in the world, in my opinion, still. My concern is what's going to happen. How are we going to get players in to replace these guys? Because these guys are huge, and they have been huge. And that for me is also concerning, because not only is Slot got to deal with coming into a new club. Imagine if Salah leaves in the summer. I know the PR's would come out there today saying when we're looking to we're not looking to sell him and all that kind of stuff. But look, ultimately, if you want top dollar for somebody, you don't turn around and say, "Oh yeah, he's for sale." You say he's not for sale. Make me an offer that makes me think about selling. It wouldn't surprise me if Salah. It wouldn't surprise me if Salah leaves, and so immediately he's got to potentially come in and replace one of the biggest players that we've had in the last 15 years. One of the best players we've had in our history.
Rax G is not gonna like you. because
No, because Rax isn't sitting here like you guys and saying he
Oh
must
my
go
God.
and he needs to do this. Rax is coming from a more logical view, which is, of
Oh
course,
my Lord.
this is how we do things. Like, but I've said it before 100 times. If a bid was to come in and it's
The
a sizable bid,
betrayal.
of course you're going to sell someone. Like, I don't want you to sell Salah because you ain't finding another Mo Salah. And me and Jerry, big up Jerry.
Now, what do you mean by that? What do you mean by you won't find another Salah?
Just in terms of what he brings to the team, you're not going to find that. There is no one else, in my opinion, on the market that's available, by the way. Not that there's
You
no
don't think
one
Federico, because I think Federico Chiesa, I think
No,
the biggest
he's
the
too
biggest
injury
problem for
prone
Chiesa is
for,
injuries.
and this is but remember, forget that you're replacing the goal. Forget even that
Yeah.
part. Remember, you're replacing the availability of this guy. This is a guy who, up until this season, in January when he got injured, this is the guy who's available 9 times out of 10. And to be honest, it's really 10 times out of 10. And it's only the only times he doesn't play is if he's just being rested for a game. You're trying to replace that for that. So let's even forget about the statistical side in terms of the goals, the assists that this player is bringing you. I just need someone who's going to be available, give or take, for every single game. And is that someone like a Chiesa? I love Chiesa. I think he's a really good player. I would take him. But it's like what me and Jerry were saying earlier on today about there's players that you probably would take, like a Neto. But Neto, do you trust Neto to be fit for a season? But he's a fantastic player. Of course, you'll take Neto. He's one of the best wingers out there. Can't stay
And that
fit.
might be. I remember you talking about Jared Bowen. This morning.
Yeah. Like, I mean, that's very
Jared
fair,
Bowen. To be fair to Jared Bowen, he don't really get injured, so he is available.
Yeah, no, you know what? Fair enough.
But this is the thing. This is the part where I strongly disagree, because if we want change and we want to move on from what we used to do, we can't bring identical players back again. You have to.
No, I'm not saying bring like the exact. I'm like what I'm trying to. I'm not getting that. Stylistically, another player like Salah. No. I don't care what type of style of play. Bro, bring anybody. Bring a Saint Maximum type of play if you want. If that's what makes you feel better, like in terms of that type of player. I don't care about stylistically. I'm just talking about what they actually bring to the. I.e., okay, prime example. If we didn't have Diaz and Diaz was out there doing not similar to Salah but producing, and we didn't have a Diaz, I'd be like, okay, then go out and sign a Diaz, kind of thing.
Right,
Yeah.
but that's
That
also,
type of style.
but that part is where we also have to, as much as you don't want to give credit to, you have to give credit to the manager, because the whole system was built for Salah to do what he's doing right now. Salah was nobody when he came back to the Premier League.
I think being called a nobody is a bit harsh, but fair enough. If that's
definitely not a nobody.
No, I'm going based on what people used to know him. They called him a flop.
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
We were being bantered for bringing a flop.
That's why I say you should go for someone like an Orsolini, because he reminds me kind of what Salah was doing, consistently getting goals in Italy off the wing. He scores similar kinds of goals. He's got a good skill set like that. He's available often. This is I think for Orsolini at Bologna, it's his 3rd straight season with at least 10 goals, 5 assists in Serie A for Bologna. So I think, and he wouldn't cost you crazy money, and he's 27, experienced. I feel like someone like that. I love watching Orsolini play, bro. He cuts back. He can do the cutback Robin thing. He can. He does it all the time. Good with both feet. So that would be who I would sign for Liverpool. I think that'd be a great sign.
It's one of those things that I can see, for example, someone coming in and being some kind of replacement to Salah, whether it means adjusting the formation, adjusting the way that the team plays to kind of to compensate for his loss of goals. Maybe we make some adjustment. You bring in a proper 9 or something like that. It's just that plus potentially losing Van Dijk. Look, how many times do we hear it? We hear players come to they've had a successful stint at a club like Van Dijk has. And they turn around and they come towards the end of their contract and say, I fancy a new challenge. And who could begrudge Van Dijk? Like he could go and spend last 5 years of his career going and playing Barcelona or somewhere like that. He'd walk into the Barcelona team, and
if they sold the Araujo, yeah.
But even if he could potentially play alongside him, right? Or he could go and don't get me wrong. I still think Van Dijk's head and shoulders above a Rudiger, or he could go and play in Italy. He could play anywhere in the world, in my opinion. And so, if that happened, it would put us in a very difficult position, and it would put Slot in a very difficult position because inevitably, when you're losing one of the best centre backs in the world, we're probably not going to be replacing him with someone who is one of the best centre backs in the world, at least not publicly aware that he's one. Yeah. But if we can find a Van Dijk or of someone who could potentially get to that level, then sure, that might work. But they're few and far between. Like these are big boots to fill, and that's what concerns me about the next 2 or 3 years.
What I would say is about replacing those in the States we call them franchise players, like those Alisson, Van Dijk, Salah. I agree it's going to be difficult to replace them, but at the same time, let's not act like you've had like legendary players at Liverpool. Like Salah isn't like in your all-time 11 like knocked down or like a lockdown starter because you've had other very good wingers.
Nah, G, don't stretch it. Don't stretch it.
I think there's definitely an argument. Sorry to jump
in the Premier League 11? Or you're just talking like
all-time Liverpool. All-time Liverpool. I'm talking Rush.
Yeah, but even
all time, there's definitely an argument to say that Salah's in
there. Yeah, there's an argument.
Van Dijk's in there, and Alisson's in there. I think Salah, looking at the goals, what other right winger would you put ahead of him? If we're being honest,
John Barnes, right winger?
He was on the left. He was on the left. He was on the left.
Yeah.
Rush was a striker.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Like that right midfield position, boy. What I'm saying is Salah.
That's Salah.
There's a conversation at least.
Yeah, there is a combo. What I was trying to say is
I know what you mean. Yeah.
Liverpool always seem to have very good players, managers, etc. Like, so I wouldn't worry too much about like replacing them just because. And also, the other thing is that like, what I don't know. Like when you guys got Salah, nobody thought he was going to do what he ended up doing.
Of course.
So, I didn't
even want Salah. How about that?
Just like how I didn't Isak, just like at Newcastle, I did not think Isak would be who he is. I liked the purchase, but I did not think he would be shouts for one of the best strikers in the Prem. I still think Haaland's better, but I did not know we were going to be having that conversation about Isak. Same with Joe Ellington. So things can change quickly in football. It's just like, and this is why, again, I think the whole Slot thing works at Liverpool because it's like Michael Edwards is that guy. I don't think it's any coincidence that once he left Liverpool, you guys didn't really look the same. I don't think that's a coincidence whatsoever. That's just my kind of thought. I rate the guy extremely highly. So,
and Steve, a lot of people think that he wasn't there when we went for the quad season. He was. That was his final year. So that was the best season we have had, even though we didn't win the other two big trophies. But this is the thing with what Rocky said.
I disagree. I don't think Liverpool's best season, I think, was, you would say 1920 for winning the Premier League and all the other trophies. But I think in terms of performance-wise, Liverpool's best season was 18. That quad season is probably one of our worst. That performance-wise was horrible.
I don't look at the performance, but we played every game awarded to any team on the planet, bar Club World Cup. How many teams have done that? 60-some games.
No. Listen, playing that amount of games, of course, and I'm not trying to underestimate what Liverpool or diminish what Liverpool did, but if we go back, listen, come the end of the season, we'll have that conversation about Klopp and his time in the seasons. But when I go back in time, that quad season, I hate calling it that because it sounds cringe. We didn't win a quad. That season that we won the double that year, I'll be honest, that was very, like, I don't even rank that in my top 3 seasons for Liverpool, like under Klopp. Like, I don't even have it there because I don't think it was that good in terms of a season. And if you look at it anyway, we won 2 crappy trophies at the end of it. We can do the old 1 point behind City, Champions League final, we lost. That's great. But ultimately, I prefer the 18-19 season where even, as I said, we finished 1 point behind City, but that's the best I've ever seen Liverpool perform pound for pound in a season where it just looked different. Like it just felt different in that season. It felt even better than winning. Obviously, winning the Premier League is better feeling, but it just felt like that was the year that you should have won the Premier League, and the following season should have been your back-to-back. kind of thing. Like that's how it kind of felt, but obviously it didn't work out.
Well, yeah, but I was going to say that, I mean, those were part of the conversation. We will have to talk about Klopp and some of his him being his own architect for certain downfall that he had. That was some decision he made that year. We should have had the invincible season. But real quick on the players, Salah, Alisson, Virgil. There's a possibility that 2 will go, and there's a possibility that 1 will go. But if I were to keep him, the goalie has to stay, and then the defender has to stay. And it's not a shade on Salah, because this is the reason why. With the attacking sense, you could change the formation and, just like Rack said, bring in a true striker, bring somebody like Nico Williams. Yeah, bring somebody like a Nico Williams from on the right side who has very speed on the right, which Arne likes. And to me, you bring somebody like Musiala as a number 10 who could actually create for your attackers. You still have Jota.
That'd be horrifying, bro. Oh my lord.
You still have Diaz still staying. So even if Diaz will not give you the goals, he will give you the problems for the defenders, for the other people to score. So Liverpool is known. We lost Torres. Who did we get? Suarez. We lost Suarez. We get him more. So the idea of if he goes, we can replace him by just change the formation and build another system.
No.
By the way, honesty, Hortensia. I love Wataru Endo, and I loved him at Stuttgart. I rated him. I thought it was a good pickup. I'm not trading for Bruno G and 65 mil. I'm sorry. I like Endo, but I like Bruno G and 65 M's more. I'm sorry.
No, but just before we I know that Steve, I know you've got to head out, guys. You already know Steve's already in my feature channel list anyway, so subscribe to his channel. I know he has got a watch along starting, I'm assuming, in the next 5 minutos. So make sure you guys, once we are done here, or you know what, scratch that. You guys are on your laptops looking at stuff that you shouldn't be looking at. How about you use one of those tabs to put on Steve watch along in the background, and you guys can obviously follow what's popping there, and also you can stay tuned in to hear. But please get off those dirty websites. Incognito does not work. Just go on there, watch along, watch that. You guys are good to go.
Hey, is this projection? Is this projection, G? You good, man? You good,
hey, man, we're all adults here. We're all adults here. Anyways, I wanted to play a video anyway.
Yeah, I love, man.
Nah, big up Steve, man, every single time.
Please. Good to see y'all.
I wanted to play this video just in regards to slot tactics, stuff like that, bit of background, and just again, so we can all kind of see what's popping. There's so many videos, by the way. Funnily enough, I know if I typed in a month ago anything about slot, I probably wouldn't even find half of these videos. It's just such a coincidence that now all of a sudden you go on YouTube, type Arne Slot. Boom, 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 boom. There's like
welcome to Liverpool.
Yeah, Arne, welcome to Liverpool. And I'm just like, Jesus, like I don't even know where to look. So I'm trying to find ones that were relatively older, because obviously then it's a bit more, I feel like it's a bit more honest as opposed to the ones that we're gonna see now. But I'll quickly play this, and then you guys can kind of let me know your thoughts and feelings.
AZ Alkmaar joining ran the youth team. He soon jumped to Canberra as a first-team assistant before taking over as interim manager. Then he did the same at AZ Alkmaar, joining as an assistant in 2017, only to once again replace a fired manager, this time on what was expected to be a more permanent basis. In 2019, Slot was handed the reins at AZ Alkmaar, where he sought to implement his vision of total football, inspired by the legendary Dutch footballing philosophy. But his time in the Zaan district did not go as AZ had likely hoped, though not for lack of on-field success. Slot had his Alkmaar team in second place in the Eredivisie in the 2019-20 season, behind only perennial Dutch powerhouse Ajax, only to see the season cut short due to COVID-19 and no champion crowned. Upon return to action the following season, Slot's AZ Alkmaar team fell to 7th before Slot was abruptly fired, not because of the team's performance, but because the job at former Dutch powerhouse Feyenoord had opened up, and Alkmaar management found out that Slot had been in talks with becoming their manager the following season. Alkmaar management said at the time, We want to have a head coach leading the team who is fully focused on AZ. While admirable, AZ Alkmaar has yet to replicate Slot's second-place finish since his departure. Since taking the helm at Feyenoord in 2021, Slot has overseen a remarkable transformation of the club, leading them to their first Eredivisie title in 6 years in 2023. His strategic signings, tactical innovations, and emphasis on youth development have revitalized Feyenoord and positioned them as a genuine perennial contender in both domestic and European competitions. Slot's tactical prowess and managerial expertise have been evident in Feyenoord's performances on the pitch. His ability to outmaneuver opponents, exploit their weaknesses, and adapt to different game situations reflects his tactical flexibility and astute understanding of the game. At the heart of Slot's success lies his tactical ingenuity and strategic foresight. His preferred formation, the 4-2-3-1, epitomizes attacking football, possession, and intense play. Slot's tactical setup emphasizes fluidity, creativity, and teamwork, with specific player roles and positioning designed to create scoring opportunities. One of Slot's most notable tactical innovations is his utilization of the double pivot in midfield to create central pockets of space and facilitate build-up play. They support the attacking quartet, consisting of a number 10, 2 wide attackers, and a center forward. The fullbacks start deep and wide, gradually moving forward to support with delayed runs as the attacking unit narrows. Slot favors an organized and purposeful press, utilizing the winger and fullback pairing to aggressively press when the opposition distributes the ball wide. This leaves a defensive back line of 3, with the double pivot providing cover. Slot sometimes varies his pressing approach, employing an extra player in the front line, particularly the number 10, to strengthen the threat on goal during high regains. However, his teams also demonstrate flexibility, dropping into a more reserved defensive block when necessary, with wingers offering support alongside the double pivot to form a solid defensive shape. This strategic approach allows Feyenoord to dominate possession and dictate the tempo of the game, while also providing defensive stability and cover. Slot's emphasis on aggressive pressing and early pressure in defense reflects his commitment to winning the ball back high up the pitch and creating scoring chances through quick transitions. His high-intensity playing style demands hard work, determination, and unwavering commitment from his players, reflecting Slot's own ethos as a coach.
Clock.
Slot has been compared to Marcelo Bielsa due to his attractive brand of football and commitment to playing stylish football regardless of the opponent. Known for his engaging, polite, and charismatic personality, Slot's presence on and off the pitch is captivating. He has a reputation for having a strong rapport with his players, appealing to their more human side rather than just their on-pitch abilities. He's also been a fan favorite, demonstrating engaging interactions with both fans and media at every stop, something that will no doubt endear him to the potentially much tougher arenas of judgment that await him should he move to a different league. Slot likes to have a large influence and control over football operations, which could deter some organizations from pursuing the Dutchman if they prefer a front office to maintain that decision-making. But his high-energy personality and desire to build through youth and include academy players in his squad could entice some clubs to acquiesce to some of Slot's demands. As Slot's star continues to rise, speculation mounts about his future in the managerial ranks. Slot remains committed to his project at Feyenoord and the pursuit of Champions League glory. He has stated that he will not leave Feyenoord for another Dutch club, and he has mentioned his desire to eventually coach in the Premier League. Slot's decision to turn down lucrative offers from top clubs in favor of staying at Feyenoord underscores his loyalty, integrity, and long-term vision for the club. However, continued success both domestically and in Europe will undoubtedly have some of the continent's biggest clubs looking towards Slot as their future leader. With his tactical acumen, managerial experience, and unwavering dedication to his footballing philosophy, Arne Slot is poised to leave an indelible mark on the footballing world for years to come.
Yeah, I mean, listening to that, big up Jerry, as I said before. I wanted to get your take in regards to, obviously you've seen, I think was listening to, I think Enz has done a show where he looked at the style and tactics. It's basically the exact same thing. in regards to, what he's going to try and implement. Now, I heard you say there during the video, Klopp. Chat to people, man. Why that? Like, what from that? Because obviously I'm seeing and big up Cameron Elder. You mentioned about, I said he's defensively sound, no huge gaps in the midfield, and you said you don't feel like he is going to be the same as a Klopp, but obviously I know Jerry thinks otherwise. So let the people know why, man.
Yeah, I think it's been an interesting, obviously, period because the media and reporters surrounding obviously the news of Klopp leaving, when they've discussed obviously any potential new managers or head coaches, they've spoken about how the Liverpool hierarchy have opted to not go down the Klopp 2.0 route, which is to go and get a Klopp, but essentially go and get a manager who is his own man. Now, I'm not trying to say Arne Slot is in by any means Klopp, because I don't think it is. But I do see a lot of similarities. I think, obviously, maybe it's the way the person that made the video has presented it, but his, hugging Kochku when he's crying after winning the league, jumping up and down when they've won the league.
He wants no affection. He wants Jose Mourinho. Like, listen, just
he's do I mean he seems like again that kind of charismatic person. Like from what I've seen in him speaking, he looks like a cool guy. He looks like, do you know what I mean, you'd get along with him. And I think, although they've tried to make it seem like, yes, we don't want a Klopp 2.0, I think they can't hide away from the intangibles that Klopp's provided Liverpool. It's how he's unified the city, the fact he has the keys to the city, the fact that he understands, the geopolitics of the area, and all. We're obviously not going to get into it. So I think they've made an appointment that will very much suit the local fans, if we're being honest. I think a lot of the kind of other candidates, from a kind of personality standpoint, wouldn't necessarily, I don't want to say rub the Liverpool fans the wrong way, or a lot of them, but it wouldn't be a potentially a great match. I know even Carragher was speaking about it on the overlap, and I'm looking. Obviously, that's from obviously that side of things. From a football perspective, it's really weird. On one hand, I hear people say he's this disciple of Pep, but then I hear, this when I'm watching the football, they're gegenpressing and attacking very, very directly. He's speaking about the teams have to work on and have to press. To what extent, of course, is very difficult to judge until we have pre-season. But it does. Look, ideally, I would have wanted Liverpool to go a different direction and go, jamming in the direction of control as opposed to having no control. And I'm not saying pressing suggests that you don't have control, but it will be interesting to see what the principles are of a Slot team when in possession at Liverpool, because for me it wouldn't make sense to go and try play the similar style of football, because I assume that there'll be an ambition from the club to kind of achieve more. I think regardless of Klopp leaving, I think they must have some ambitions of, we hope to go and achieve whatever's on par or more at Liverpool. So that's what I got from that vid, man.
Man, listen, man. What about yourself, Quasi and Rec? Obviously, just
got Quasi and Rec as well.
Like I said, you guys on your own type of like homework and stuff like that. But just even looking at that in terms of stylistically, what he's trying to do, like I can see both sides really and truly in terms of I can see a lot of similarities from what they're saying in regards to why he's a bit like Klopp, and I can then also understand from a Michael Edwards point of view that continuity, because you don't want to. Where I'm with Jerry in terms of we both wanted like maybe go a different type of direction with the type of manager you get. I understand why Michael Edwards would then go down this route, because the reality is we're probably worried. We don't want to get into that same Chelsea situation. You don't want to get into that same Manchester United situation, should I say, where you come in, you get a manager, it might be a bit different to what you're trying to do, and that's just not going to work out. And then you've seen with Manchester United over the years, look how many different managers that have been there. you've got players from different managers trying to gel into a new manager who's going to want to bring in his own players. So now you've got Marcus Rashford, who came through under Louis van Gaal, Martial, players who, you know, they've all come through different managers and different stages, that now they're in a position where they've got no identity. They're trying to implement one at Manchester United, but they can't because they've still got players from, you know what I mean? Like I said, Marcus Rashford, Louis van Gaal, you know, that kind of era. And they've probably still got ones from Mourinho era, you know, potentially. So all of these kind of little things, I feel like that's why they would head down this route. So being similar to Klopp, I feel like, yeah, that would make sense in their eyes. But what do you guys think?
We have to, this is the part where you give credence to the American way of doing things, is they do their research.
Yeah, of course, yeah, of course.
They do their research. And, you know, Jerry and yourself, G, you mentioned this. Liverpool is not just bring a manager and start winning. The fans are part of it. So they're looking at the culture of Liverpool and said, who is the manager who is going to encompass what the passion of football is in Liverpool? Number two, they're looking at Anfield. Who is going to bring a passion to Anfield? I would say Benitez is probably the only manager who is kind of standoffish that they will hire because he is that respectable professor that Liverpool fans love so much. Any other manager is going to be very, very hard because Brendan Rodgers tried and they called him fake. Right? They thought he was doing too much. He was just, bro, just relax and just be yourself. So they're looking at this guy and they say, okay, we have to look at the culture first and the football. Now, the football thing, 4-2-3-1. I think I was sold when they say 4-2-3-1. Reason why is you can control with 4-2-3-1. As you show it on there, it's a very, very adaptable, fluid formation. It can switch to different style of play that you want. Klopp when he was at Dortmund, used it in a Ganger pressing style. Other managers have used it in more controlling game, very slow, methodic, and then they will score 1 or 2 goals, and then it becomes a very defensive style of play because it creates that what they call it, Christmas tree, when you are defending, and you could also use it to play counter-attack football. So for me, the style of ball control that we are used to, we need to probably let it go because there's only a few managers who can do that. You know what I mean? Even Pep stopped using that.
Yeah,
after he left Bayern Munich, he stopped.
One thing I would say is, look, with the formations, if we're being that really honest, like they change under Klopp, they change. Do you know what I mean, with managers, and that's fine. Like we could play 2-1-2-2-2, whatever you want to call it. It's the principles. It's the principles of teams that decide whether a team's controlling or not. Because I tell you now, if you go and look at Everton, if you go and look at Luton Town and stuff, they play a 4-2-3-1 at times. Like they might set up, or it might look like that, but elements of control change. And I'll put this to you. So Liverpool could play easily with a 4-2-3-1, right? You could easily go and do that right now. But if the premise of the midfielders are you've got to go and press the nearest man with the ball, and we've got to do that as a team, the player that's in that double pivot doesn't just sit in front of the defense. He has to now step out and press that player. As soon as he goes and does that, you leave gaps. And that is why depending, it doesn't really make a difference with the formation. When Liverpool go and defend, as an example, we don't defend in a 4-3-3. We defend in a 4-4-2. What you have is Diaz actually come back, Salah stays high, you've got the striker staying high, and you've got Soboslai or whoever that comes across and covers that right-hand side. So it looks like a 4-4-2 if you used to slow it down. I don't think the formation, again, is like, if we see Slot play with a 4-3-3, which he has done, to be fair, at final this season, it's not like we've seen Arteta plays a 4-3-3. But they're so different in how they're used because, again, it's the principles of play. So for me, again, is what I'd want to go and see is and this is what I spoke about just earlier. It's the principles that seem very Klopp-like. It's the press. It's the fact that the fullbacks, you've got to have a lot of energy. we didn't hear anything about methodical control, and that's what I would prefer. Again, I'm just a fan, so who cares what I think? But that's, I think, the route you want to go down, because even look at Dortmund, Klopp, they conceded a lot of chances. They were playing a 4-2-3-1 when they finished 7th, quasi, you know, like they had no control there. So it was, again, it's the principles, and I think.
And no, I agree. I agree with that, because that's also a little bit of my concern. Like I said, excuse me, earlier, I said they told us we don't want a club like, but then when my ex on and off girlfriend comes up and lists the list of things they want, it looks like a club, right? So, so then it's like, okay.
Listen, I don't want to be part of any case that comes up in the future. Like, just, I'm not involved. That's all I'm saying.
You know, no.
She's getting served, man. She's getting served tomorrow.
Yeah, listen, because I'll be the one in court jumping up and down saying, yeah, he said it. He was the one who explicitly told me offline, this is exactly how it went down. Listen, I've got things to do in my life. I don't know about you.
Yeah, you know, I mean, you know, and Melissa, she understands. But the thing is, with me is him coming to the EPL, he's gonna learn quickly that you can't gegenpress like you do in Germany or Netherlands, because Klopp find out quick, right? The players are already in a high intensity league already. So how far can you push them? You know, that's what I was saying. Even Pep had to figure a way to change, because his first year was he almost didn't even make the top 4. He made top 4 towards the end of the season. So the idea is, like, you're right, we need to, I don't even think we can see during preseason. He's going to play Manchester United and Arsenal. That's not going to tell us that much. It's when the first 10 games of the season comes in, then we'll see how he adapts. Conte, he played 4-3-3, then he switched it to 4-3-3, having 3-4-3 quick after what, the second or third game. So I think we will know a little bit more based on the players that are going to stay and possibly the players they're going to bring in.
Yeah, I think one thing that's going to be massive, and probably, and I know we say this every season, but this preseason is going to be one of the biggest preseasons we have, because Arne Slot's got the job of, you know, he's still in a job right now, so he hasn't got he's not privy to having the time of you know, going and watching games or just attending training sessions and having a look at these players, if he was allowed to, and really kind of just zeroing in and focusing on the team. He's still got his team to worry about, and as soon as that finishes, it's boom, go into a next job. No sabbatical, no real break, and he's got to now kind of get his ideals across, gel with the team as well.
But Jerry,
and that's got to be seamless.
But you know what's going to be worrying too, Jerry? And sorry, Rax, real quick. This summer, he's not even going to have the entire squad to work with.
Exactly.
Oh, Jesus Christ, we've got the Euros, don't we?
We got Euros, we got
Copa America,
Olympics, all these things. So it's going to be...
Ain't Olympic? No, that's maybe nothing.
Yeah, it's the Olympics, yeah.
Oh my God, so you got Diaz and co. Just, I mean... in wherever where's the Copa America? Is it in the US?
In the US, yeah.
Yeah,
in the US. Oh yeah, are you guys doing this as like a pre-thing for the World Cup?
Yeah,
right.
That? Jesus, yeah. So again, this is going to be massive. He's going to be working with. It's almost reminiscent of Brendan Rodgers. I remember his first pre-season. It was just all the academy players and a few starters, and you know we know how that first season turned out. So Jesus, yeah. And he's dealing with Champions League.
Yeah, that's going to be tough too. But my opinion about, I think Klopp's first season versus Klopp's peak, and even now, there were significant differences. I think, G, you mentioned it. That's the year we won the league, and that those 2/3 years, I mean, obviously it was kind of curtailed a little bit when Van Dijk got injured and our centre backs went. So those 2.5 years, I think it wasn't all as, certainly the year we won the league, wasn't as gung ho as it was at the start, and I think there was much more of an element of control, and I think nothing says that more than the goal. Even though we lost the game 2-1, that goal we scored against City, the build up to that, the patience and the control that we had. it showed that Klopp was capable of that, and sometimes he went away with that, and he went with chaos. And perhaps you could argue, perhaps that's us now. We don't really control games. We give up crazy amount of chances, and we never really look comfortable, even when we're ahead. Opposition are always likely to get a goal or get a chance. So if Slot can implement a style which does have more control, does allow us to dominate possession, does allow us to dominate territory, and then, of course, that's what we all want. We want to do that, and we want to be pressing monsters, and we want to score loads of goals and concede a few goals. Maybe that's wishful thinking, but we have got to those heights in the past, and it's about having a blend of all of those attributes. What we can't have is we can't have 3 or 4 players bearing down on a back two like we have at certain points this season, and thinking, even if you're lucky enough to save a goal in that instance, it's just a matter of time. We give away way too many chances at the moment. So that will obviously require good recruitment, because I don't think all the players that we have right now are capable of playing in that type of style. And it will require tactical tweaks as well. And it's a big change. And the players that, when they come back in pre-season, they're going to go away and they're going to have had Jurgen Klopp, and they'll be emotional, and they'll be hugging, and there'll be tears and all that kind of stuff. But I think it only really sinks in when you come back, the big German's not there, and there's some Dutch bald guy, and
you didn't
things
need to
are
have
different.
That bald.
No, but I'm just. I know.
You could have just said some Dutch guy. Like, he didn't have to add in.
I didn't. But I'm just saying.
No, I'm playing.
Visually, they look different. Personality, they may have some similarities, but even if they're similar, there's going to be differences. When you've had someone who's such a big character like Klopp, you're going to come back, and even small differences, you're going to go, oh, that's a bit different. We've all had it in work, someone new can maybe get a new boss, or you get moved to a different department, and you're just like, oh, this is how we used to things, but now it's a little bit different. A lot of these players, Trent hasn't had that, right?
Exactly. I definitely agree with that, Rack. I think just to add on to that as well before you finish off.
No, go.
It's little things like you get to the canteen, and I said it earlier, and the cake and custard that you loved, or that pasta that you loved, ain't there anymore. We saw it with Di Canio, or as a manager, it's so different. You want to make your mark, but you also want to, I don't want to say it, but lick ass a bit. You want to kind of make sure you've got everyone on your good side, and everyone's pally with you, but you also have to show that this is your way of doing things, and you can't take any nonsense. And look, don't be surprised if, obviously maybe not to the extent of Arsenal or United, but you get these murmurs of, this player's unhappy with this new manager because, he's playing in a role that he doesn't like, or this, he's not happy with this certain change, or he's not favoured as much because, he used to, like Robertson as an example, always plays, and now he's not playing at all when he doesn't like that whole dynamic, and he doesn't like how Arne Slot spoke to him because he rubs him up the wrong way. You could potentially get that. This is a new guy that's coming in. Every single one of these players are not Arne Slot's players. So until it's his squad, it's not going to be that, in an idealistic world, it's not going to be this harmonious dressing room that, everyone agrees with everyone, and it's going to be tough for him. It's going to be tough. Like the Salah situation, the Trent situation. Everyone's saying, yeah, Trent's going to move into midfield. They think that Slot's going to do that. What if Slot tells him, no, you're a fullback, and I want you to stay wide and just whip balls into the box? How's Trent going to react to that? Knowing that, his dream of becoming a midfielder may be put on pause for however long Arne Slot's at the job. It's all these types of things that he's going to have to manage, and I don't begrudge him. To be fair, I wouldn't want this job myself.
It's a tough situation, right? And then he's probably going to be tested a little bit. The players probably, to some extent, are going to test. I always remember a guy who a lot of Liverpool fans liked, Mamadou Sakho. Yep. Mamadou Sakho was, I remember the Dortmund game where he was a colossus, and he talked about the Liverpool country after the game, after we beat them, and so he was a bit of a cult hero, and in a way, Klopp, you know, he rode that first season out, and then in that summer, he basically made it clear to Sacco that he wasn't his guy when there was this disciplinary issue, and sometimes that may happen, and it may happen to one of our favourite players. How are we as a fan base going to react if he suddenly decides, Andy Robertson, you're not my guy. Andy Robertson, you need to go, or someone like that, right? He may be. I'm saying Andy Robertson, but we know that there are bigger favourites than Andy Robertson. I don't really want to mention if he says that to someone like. I don't know,
look, it could be Trent. It could be Trent that happens.
He might look at Jerry. Trent. I didn't want to say it, Jerry. I didn't want to say it. You said it.
I'll say it for you. It could be Trent, where he's like, you know what, Trent, I don't really fancy you. You don't have enough for me as a midfielder in terms of short passing. You've got a great long range pass, but we're not really going to use that, and I don't really fancy you as a fullback. So you're going to have to prove to me that you want to fight in this team, like Henderson had to do all those years under Brendan Rodgers. Now, how is someone like that going to deal with, that situation? It's tough, man. It's really, really tough. And I think there's going to be a few players like that because, again, Klopp was lucky that he was coming into a team that didn't really win anything.
Yeah.
So, he's a manager that has, done well. He's a renowned manager. He's coming in and he's got that kind of presence. The difference is, on the world stage, who's bigger, Mohamed Salah or Arne Slot? Who's bigger, Virgil van Dijk or Arne Slot? So you're looking at these players and you're like, some of these players naturally. We don't give managers enough credit. They all have egos. Salah's spat with Klopp is an ego thing. It's what you're bringing me on for 8 minutes in a game. You're telling me to warm up like my name's Harvey Elliott. No, I'm not warming up properly. Leave that off. Klopp's then got an issue at him warming up properly. He then goes and has a tiff with him. That's an ego. That's what makes Salah Salah. But how is this manager going to deal with an ego where, it might be a Salah. You can't take on your man. I want you to play as a centre forward and I just want you to set the ball off. And I want you to do that Bobby role where you're not scoring anymore, but you're assisting the wide players. And he goes, no, I don't want to go and do that. It's so many if, buts and maybes.
Cameron said, he says, Rack, if it means we're better, who cares? Pep doesn't take shit. And I absolutely agree with that. I absolutely agree that as long as it takes us forward as a club, as long as we improve as a team, and as long as that takes us towards, challenging for top honours, winning top honours, that's absolutely the right thing to do. But at the same time, if you're Arne Slot coming in as a human being, coming into a new environment, or if you're a player coming in and he's your new manager, you're not used to the dynamics of how this transpires and how the players or player may test him and how he responds to those tests and vice versa. There's a potential that can go seriously wrong. There could be issues there. And,
he could maybe try to be a bit, when you're trying to show too much authority. So you're almost like, I don't know.
Did you have you seen the John Terry interview?
Yeah. You might go down that kind of route where it's like, and now because you've now looked a little bit, he doesn't look like he's.
Look, Brendan Rodgers did it. Look how he was talking to Sterling at training. Yeah. Look what he done to Gerrard afterwards. Brendan Rodgers did it where he came in and just made his, all right, these are my players, and you're not playing anymore. And look, with Henderson, he tried to do it. You know what? You're not working out. We want to get Clint Dempsey in. Like all those things that happen internally that we won't be privy to. Do you know what I mean? It might be Curtis Jones where he comes in like, yeah, I want you gone. Like, do you know what I mean? I want Fabio Carvalho. I don't want you, Elliot. Like, do you know what I mean? And how is that going to affect the dressing room? And if he doesn't do that on the flip side, does he then become too soft? Does he become too much of a pushover where the player power kind of supersides or overrides what the manager wants to do? Where the manager, Ten Hag seems to have that situation where he was a bit too pally-pally, didn't really assert himself, and now, he's got Sancho there. I mean, pillow talking and decided to perform. It's crazy. It's crazy.
That's the thing. It's all these little dynamics that may end up outside of like pure football, outside of your Saturday 3 o'clock kickoff, that may affect how he settles in, how the squad react to him. And it's a big change. After 9 years, we're losing a huge character. And we're bringing somebody else in. There are going to be some repercussions, and there probably will be some casualties. And how Slot deals with them and how the squad deals with them, I think could we don't know, could determine how successful you are in the near future.
But you guys, this is the power I was saying. The good job that our owners and Edwards is they did the research and figure out that all the concerns you guys brought up, that's why they bring in a person who's a people person, so that he will be able to deal with the human side of things, or even the hardcore side of things. You have to look at this.
100%. But like, three of us here could love Klopp. G doesn't, innit? And Klopp's the biggest people person. So
okay, well, I feel like we need to remind any fair enough.
So what I'm saying is that, of course, like, yeah, he could be a people person, but he just might not get along with Trent. And if he doesn't get along with Trent, that affects, the relationship that Trent has with flipping Curtis Jones, because they're boys. And now Curtis Jones looks at him a bit like, why are you not playing? Like, do you know what I mean? I remember even like Beckham, when Fabio Capello came in and he had Beckham running around and stuff. And the players were just Real Madrid weren't performing at that time, because they were like, why is Beckham not joining? Like, he was a big part of the dressing room, let alone the team.
But Jerry, can I tell you something though? This is the part where I kind of agree with what Rax was saying. He said there will be casualties. Hence the reason why a lot of Liverpool fans kind of hate that Edward has come back, because one, it kills the agenda of the FSG, doesn't care about the club or the manager. And two, they know that Edwards drives a hard bargain. Some of our favorite players is going to be a casualty, right? The Beckham part, I watched his documentary. We all thought it was Capello, but it wasn't Capello. It was Perez who was doing that, because Perez was upset that he was going to leave to go to MLS. So Capello had to go back and say, bro, I need this guy. And if you remember, all of a sudden he started playing well, and they won the league. But with your concerns, I agree with you. The human side is, hey, this is my boy. You can't treat him like how Sancho was treated, even though Sancho was also part of the reason why he was treated that way. At the same time, our structure is, you are a professional. You're supposed to do a job. If you don't, go talk to your agent and move on.
All right, Kwasi. On that note, who would you want to be your casualty? Pick 3 casualties.
Hold on, just before you get into that, I was gonna head down that route. But let me just get through a couple of the questions that people have obviously thrown in. We'll do the predicted lineup, and then we'll chop it up in terms of your casualties. Or, to be fair, we'll chop up during the lineup to see where your casualties may lie, kind of thing. And I don't want to include any player that we haven't signed. So just based off of the team that we have today, if you had to pick a team for Arne Slot. But let me just get through some of this. Big up K-Mac in the building. Honesty is asking here a question. Arne Slot will only focus in coaching. Edwards and Hughes will focus on transfers. We are going away from the English system. How long do you guys think it will take to be successful? Don't answer that question. Stay tuned. 6:30 tomorrow, 7 o'clock. We will go through Michael Edwards. Don't worry about that. I've got a show for everything. Don't you worry.
She's one step ahead of you. She's one step ahead of you.
I knew that question was coming. 7 p.m. It's already scheduled. Make sure you guys tune in. We'll talk about that anyways. He's obviously asking Steve, this was before, where do you think he will play Trent? I'll quickly ask all of you here, just name the position. Where would you play Trent in this new system with Arne Slot? I'll start with you, Rex.
I think Trent has been at his best for Liverpool when he's been playing as a fullback. From that position, he can spread the ball, he can contribute to the attack, he can link up. I think, in my opinion, he's the best. He's got deficiency in his game, but I would always play him fullback because he gives you so much more there. Yes, his defensive deficiencies are apparent, but if you want to be an aggressive, ball-dominant attacking team where you have the ball in the opposition half 70% of the time, then I want Trent to be one of those people who's on the ball, because if he has more ball, he'll be able to do more damage. You'll lose up. You've got to compromise a little bit. He won't be as good defensively. But this guy's like Beckham playing at fullback. If Beckham was playing football now, today, he'd be playing as a fullback. He'd be playing like Trent.
I hear it. Kwasi?
I 100% agree with Rex. I think that this is a part of the architect stuff that Klopp did that is part of his downfall. He should have just kept Trent where he was. He was much better when he was, bombing forward, giving those good crosses where people were comparing him to KDB. This whole thing of he can play midfield became a confusion and a distraction to the club. If Arnie wants him to do a double pivot, then like I always say, fight for your position. Fight for your position and tell us if you could take out any of the other midfielders that we have. I will keep him at fullback, right fullback, because personally I think he's one of the best ones. And he has to defend.
First. Jerry? Is he there?
Yeah. I'm just thinking. I echo their statements as well.
Mm-hmm.
I just think we're never gonna get that Trent again because he doesn't want to do it.
Mm.
And I think if an Arne Slot, I think that's going to be his biggest issue because he's going to have a task on his hands. Does he play him in that double pivot, knowing that he's not the best defensively anyway? So it means you've got to go out and get a 6, or you've got to drop a McAllister or whoever it is, or he improves defensively and becomes keen on playing that role. I think it's time to move him from that position because the worst thing you can have is playing a position where he doesn't want to go and play. And he seems like he's not a Milner type of character that just will do a job for a team. He's not that guy, and he knows he's not that guy. He knows he's Mr. Liverpool, and I think that's a detriment to the club. And I think you're only going to get the best out of Trent when he feels good within himself, I think. So I play him in the 6, well, one of the 2 double pivots.
First. K-Mac?
Big up everyone, by the way.
Big up, K-Mac.
Trent, best right back in the world for the last 5 years. More assists, more chances created, more pass completion than any other player since he's been put in this weird Hollywood pre-roll that he says he's got. His assists have dropped, his chance creations dropped, makes more mistakes, pass creations dropped, long ball averages have dropped. Stinky Trent in this position. He needs to go back to basics. What he become world class at? He's not world class anymore. Now he's a liability. The new manager's got a massive job. Like if you thought tying Salah down was going to be hard, getting Trent to work in his system is going to be the hardest thing he's ever done. And I think Edwards and Hughes are probably going to have to make some tough decisions about this guy because he plays like he plays for a Real Madrid or a Barcelona. And he's playing in a Klopp team and it's a Klopp system where you got to work your ass off or the whole system falls to pieces. That's just the way it is. And he's not been doing it. So for me, I love Trent as a right back. I hate Trent as this free roll inverted thing, which is just ugh.
Jesus. No. I feel you. Big up Ram in the building.
You can't do the double pivot. Have you seen Slot's double pivot, guys?
Yeah. Like,
so much ground back and forth sideways.
Yeah, and this is where I was like, I think I get what you big up Christian here. You're saying obviously he does do the I know he does do that inverting thing. He doesn't do the inverting
back though.
Yeah, so it's still gonna always be. I'm not saying it can't be similar in terms of similarities in terms of what they do. Of course it is. Everyone plays similar football anyway, but ultimately it's gonna be different than what he's already been doing now. I'm kind of with the guys in terms of I just feel he just needs to he needs to kind of decide on how he wants to play this anyway, because in my opinion, obviously if he does the inverting thing, then you're going to continue doing what you're doing anyway. So really you're winning in that regard. Just play your right back. If you need to invert, you can invert. Maybe you'll stick out wide a bit more, whatever the case. But you're going to be kind of doing a similar job to what you're doing. Maybe there'll be a bit more onus on you defensively. That's what, from how I see his tactics, it seems like there'll be more onus on you in that kind of regard. And his fitness, I feel, has to get a bit better as well in order for him to be able to get back into position and stuff like that. Whereas in the system that Klopp's kind of designed, he don't really require Trent to even really get back. It's kind of more about Konate doing his thing, and he covers the position, and there's more onus on Konate to do that as opposed to Trent, I need you back in this position. So listen, Trent's got a decision of his own to make with the manager, and the manager's going to have to, he's going to have that conversation. But listen, I'm intrigued to see how it goes.
Can I say one more thing as well? Next season, we cannot have our captain and vice captain arguing on and off the pitch. Like, that has to stop. Like, that hasn't happened at the club for a long, long time. When you got your vice captain and your captain arguing on the pitch and off the pitch.
When was this?
That was at the West Ham game. That was at the West Ham game.
I don't even remember. I don't remember seeing that.
Like, I didn't watch it. I heard it on commentary. Like, as I was driving, I was going on holiday.
But
like,
haven't Virgil
screaming
always
at each other?
But that's always been part of the way they play, right? When Trent is falling asleep, Virgil's yelling at him, saying, "Hey, my friend, wake up." It has nothing to do with being but it has nothing to do with captainship. You're not playing well, I'm going to speak on it. I mean,
no, but that's your vice captain.
It doesn't matter.
By his captain.
It doesn't matter. When you are not playing well, your leader needs to say something. That's what I'm saying. I mean, why is Trent not playing well? If Virgil don't say anything, I'm concerned.
Listen, we'll speak on Virgil soon enough. Pick up RJ in the building. Ram, I don't know if you're there. If you are there, let me know. Send out an SOS. Yeah, no, I'm good, bro. Love for jumping in. Just quickly, which position would you have for what's his name? Trent Alexander-Arnold, and then we'll move on to the team for next season. But yeah, which position would you like to see him in next season?
I don't know, because
it's never good sign, is it?
I'm looking at what slots. Slot right now is using the inverted fullbacks. I can't dispute that.
Mm-hmm.
But his best team, the one that won the league, his right back didn't invert. He was old school, up and down that wing, up and down that byline, because he was more or less pace and power, and just cross it into the box.
Mm.
So from that perspective, I would probably say put him as a DM. However, if you look at that same team, I can't remember who was next to Kirkchew. I think it might have been Stengs, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it was.
Timber.
I think so. I'm not 100. I can't remember what they had last season.
Timber.
And
because it was a 4-3-3, so it was Wi-Fi in the 6, Stengs on the right, Kochko on the left.
Yeah,
that's what I'm thinking. And we cut in terms of the balance of the entire team. It don't work if Trent plays in that double pivot next to McAllister. So you're really stuck in a rock and a hard place, because if you want him to go and do the marauding right back, he can't. Then you can put him there, but then you're going to have a big issue with going defensively. But if you put him in midfield, you're looking at a balance issue, because that midfield is just not balanced at all.
Yeah.
So if it was me personally, I don't want to see him at right back. I think he's too much of a liability defensively and opens us up too many times defensively, and puts too much on the likes of Konate, Kwanzaa, Van Dijk, and other centre backs if you are going to get another centre back in. So yeah, I would ideally want to see him in midfield, but you have to work your way around that, in my opinion, to get the best out of the team.
But I have a question, though. I have a quick question for all the people who say they want to put him in midfield. What do you guys see him do in midfield that he qualify as a midfielder? I'm sorry, how many times have you been pulling the rest of your hair follicles about his Hollywood passes from the midfield?
I feel like, what is it with bald people today? You and then Rat before, like, what is the beef, bro? Like, I don't quite understand. Like,
no, I mean, you see what I'm saying, though? I haven't seen anything from Trent beside, okay, he gets a good pass in the middle. He doesn't do the basic right when he's in the midfield. So how are we going to put him in there? Is he going to be running back and forth? Do we ever see him do that?
Hey, listen, look, I'm not the one who wants a midfielder. Like,
I'm just
we
trying to
got
figure it out.
yeah, no,
Well, that's what
I
I'm saying. If you want to put him
Everyone
in
said right
midfield,
back.
you just got what you. The only way I don't want to see him at right back because it's just too much of a liability going defensively and putting too much on our centre backs. There's no,
Yeah, but
there's no.
you almost
There's
have to
like
play
there's
him
no
like
there's
they
there,
played Pirlo, like for AC Milan, like where you just kind of pick up the ball, and he had a Gattuso next to him with a Kaka in front, like or a
but we
Seedorf on
don't.
the side. Like
But
we don't. I know we don't have that, right? So that's the problem. That this is where I say he fits in, like him in that team. Oh my goodness, he'd be basically the Pirlo replacement because he wouldn't have to worry about that defensive side of his game. But here, he fully has to worry about. That's why I'm with Quasi. I'm like, bro, like, what do people think that you're gonna see from a midfielder? Like, do you just think he's just there gonna play Hollywood passes all the time? Like, it definitely can't work like that. Even Kevin De Bruyne gets stuck
I
in.
mean,
Like, I don't know.
Have you seen how many times he gives the ball away when he's got time? Like seriously,
Yeah, that's
give
just
him
the
even
nature of
more
obviously how
time.
he plays as well. Like,
He gets really lackadaisical and tries like a weird pass that's like really easy to do. Like there's a guy stood next to you, just give it to him. Like, but he tries something really outrageous and gets caught out. Like for me, I don't think he got caught out as much as everybody thinks as a right back when he was in his pomp. I don't. The players that kind of caught him were like, Vinny Jr., Rashford, Saka, really, really top end players. But most of the time, he was solid. He was good at interceptions. He was good at track and back. He was a good defender. Like seriously.
Yeah.
But he had to defend as well because he was a right back. But now it's
Oh, yeah.
like, well, I'm a right back, but I actually don't need to do anything because I've got a free role. And he's actually said it himself. So it's like, it's nuts.
The irony is,
I don't actually think any defender in the world can do our right centre back's role perfectly. I just don't think any defender in the world can do that job because you're doing centre back and you're doing right back.
the demands are huge. The demands are
Crazy.
huge. Yeah, and look, the irony of this whole thing is because the move that's been linked for Trent, the move away, would be for him to go to Real Madrid. And the irony is that Real Madrid, he would play as a right back. He's not playing in central midfield at right back.
Like, who is he going to displace from the midfield? Who is he better in the midfield in the
For
Real
the job
Madrid
that
team?
they need, he does
the
not
job
fit
they
that.
know. He doesn't
They don't
fit.
need someone to be able to just pass the ball every day.
I mean, as a right back at Real Madrid, you could not have a more old school style right back than that guy that plays there. Carvajal, he is a proper old school right back. So it's like, here you go, Trent.
He's a terrier, isn't he? He's a terrier.
Yeah, you're back at Liverpool again, back in 2019. Crack on.
Just quickly before we get on to, I want to do the predict like what we would kind of like to see. We'll vote on it, of course, in terms of position wise. If there's a tie, I'll obviously try to break that tie with my choice. But just quickly, RJ's just asking here, how many people on the panel would give Trent a 10 free roll, but he would have to fight the other midfielders and not a guaranteed starter? If he's not a right back or a top midfielder, what is he?
Absolutely not. I would not put him at 10.
I did think about him in the 10 though. When we were doing the box thing, I did think about Trent Alexander-Arnold in the 10 position because I felt what he could bring in that position we didn't have at that time. Obviously, we've got McAllister now, so I don't really need him in that position anymore, to be fair. So
that's the thing. We've got so many other better players that are natural 10, so to speak.
Yeah.
Right? We've got Harvey, we got Maka, we've got Soboslai. Those are 10s. And personally for me, I prefer if Trent was in a position where he could see the entire pitch for himself.
Yeah.
So he could start, because I haven't seen him in tight spaces. I haven't seen him in any situation.
I don't feel like he could do that whole Phil Foden tight space type of thing. I don't think he's that type of guy.
That's the thing. That's the thing. And I would argue there's a case for the other three to do that in a more competent manner. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't want to see him at 10, in my opinion. He's more of like a kick and run kind of player rather than like a skillful, weaves around Iniesta type player.
These Sunday League type of quality players. That's a joke. All right, let's move on to the predicted lineup. There was actually a question, which is going to be the first thing that we kind of touch on, and I don't want anyone to get angry at me. First of all, I didn't ask the question, it's being posed, but it's something that I have thought about because Steve mentioned before he left about goalkeepers, and Slot does change the goalkeepers around and stuff like that. Big up, honestly, question. Slot loves to build up by using the keeper. So do you guys see him keeping a Kelleher because he is good with his feet? Now, I think, and I know Ram, that's your boy. I know. I think that Kelleher is better with the ball at his feet than Alisson. Alisson is obviously
That's facts.
Yeah, okay. I didn't want you to get mad. That's all. I think that it almost comes like if his system requires it, like how a Pep system required you to be that type of keeper, it didn't really matter about how good you were shot stopping. It was just more about, are you competent enough? Like, could you go and goal? All right, great. But how good with you with the ball at your feet? Then that's why you saw Bravo and then an Edison come in, even though Joe Hart is better than both of those two keepers as actual keepers, not with the ball at his feet though. But in terms of shot stopping, Joe Hart is better than both Edison and Claudio Bravo. But you saw why Pep did that, because of the end result. Could you see a same situation with someone? Doesn't have to be Kelleher, it could be another goalkeeper, but can you see that happening potentially? Or would you just throw Alisson in goal and just be like, well, he's the goalkeeper?
Do you know?
Is this for everyone?
Yeah. This is open shop. Yeah.
I mean, Keller's going to hand in a transfer request like next season. Like, if he's not the number one goalkeeper, like, he has to, because he's a high value goalkeeper now. Like, he's had an incredible season, and I mean, the only reason why he's dropped off for me is I just think he's never been under pressure to an extent like this, and the fact that he had a couple of shaky games, because he's playing in games that he's never played in before, where we're challenging for the title. He's never been in that situation, so I just felt he dropped off because he's just not up to doing that on a regular basis. I think he's better. I think he's better with the ball than Alisson. I really do. I think he's got more attributes to his game than Alisson. I know. Come at me over that. Like, Ali is world class, 100%. Like, you know what you're going to get with Ali, and the defense know what they're going to get with Ali. And I think that's the difference between a Kelleher and an Ali. This guy's 25. Like, can you imagine how good he could be with another season behind him? Like if we do sell him, we should get a buyback on him, 100%. I think he's brilliant, by the way. It's the whole situation with Arsenal, isn't it, really? Like, they bought Ramsdale for 50 million because he's a brilliant goalkeeper, but then he didn't do what the lone goalkeeper did that they got in. And they got into a situation where he couldn't distribute like the lone goalkeeper could, and the lone goalkeeper's played all season. You know what I mean? That's the kind of situation. With Slot, I don't know. Like, it depends what he wants, but if you're asking Ali to do new stuff, I don't think you can teach an old dog new tricks. And I also think he's susceptible to hamstrings when he tries to do his Hollywood passing, and that's probably why he's been injured a bit this season. So, I mean, that's a conversation to have, isn't it? Whether
I wouldn't even listen.
Whether Kelleher plays or Ali next season.
No, and the thing is, look, I put Alisson in goal, like, because I think that's where we'd go anyway. But I'm not like I said at the beginning of the stream, like, I'm really not in. I'm not really bothered, like, with nobody, to be honest with you. Like, there's not one player in the team that I look at and think, yeah, man, like, you have, like, if you feel that player, whether it's Salah, whether it's Van Dijk, whether it's Trent, whether it's Ali, whatever, if you feel that person can't do what you need them to do, I'd rather you just get someone else who can do it, or play someone else who can, because there's no point. I want to step away from the shoehorning thing that Klopp obviously was, like, famed for kind of doing with certain players, where we kept shoehorning them in to certain positions. If they can't do it, bro, just get someone who can, like, or play someone who can, because I feel you'll see better results as opposed to kind of going through this whole. Obviously, listen, obviously the players I'm talking about, Van Dijk, Alisson, Trent, they are world-class players in their own right. So I get it in one degree, in one sense, but on the flip side, how long can you keep doing it? Because ultimately, these top players ain't going to want to do that anyway. Like, if Ali doesn't want to play like that or can't do it, we'll start seeing deficiencies in his game that we'll start calling for his head after 5 game weeks where Ali's made 4 mistakes in the last 3 games, and you know, it looks all crazy now, you know, kind of thing. So listen, anybody, I think this summer, I don't think anybody should look at it and think, oh, I'm safe. I think we should they should look at it and think, you know what, this is a situation where I'm not saying you're going to be uncertain, but you're definitely thinking, okay, like I need to impress the manager during preseason. Whatever I can do during preseason, I just need to make sure I do what I need to do. As long as I do that, sorry, go on, Rex. Go on.
I think that's fair, but I also think that there are certain players that are head and shoulders above the rest. Alisson is head and shoulders above Kelleher. He's a different class of keeper to Kelleher. Kelleher may have a couple of attributes where he's marginally better, but as an all-round keeper, and for the differences between what Alisson gives you in his strongest areas and what Kelleher gives you, it's no comparison. Kelleher has done exceptionally well this season. He's done exceptionally well when he's come in the past. Like, you couldn't ask for someone to have to make a stronger impact, a better impact, coming in for arguably, not in my opinion, not even arguably. In my opinion, Alisson's the best in the world. So and similarly, look, Van Dijk. Well, there's not really much I can say about Van Dijk. I mean, there's no one even close to him in the squad. So, but they all should feel uncomfortable enough to perform in preseason and need to perform in preseason to impress the manager, just even if it's just for their professional pride, because ultimately they're representing Liverpool. They need to be doing their best for Liverpool, and doing their best for Liverpool does not involve them coming back being a bit lackadaisical. And ultimately, look, again, I'll mention it again. In the next 2 or 3 years, Alisson and Van Dijk and Salah aren't going to be here. I can't see Alisson being here in 3 years.
No, it's true. It's true.
But
I will say about
does anybody knows if the manager likes to play from, with the goalkeeper, because Alisson can't kick, and that's why he gets injured all the time.
No. This is what I'm saying is that's why I said it. I would pick Alisson every day of the week. I'm just saying.
I pick him all day, every day. I'm just saying.
Yeah. But I think people are thinking that. Big up Gramps. I know you're asking, are we overrating? Like, he doesn't have to be world class. This is the point. You actually don't have to be world class to do what the manager requires you to do. That him being world class is irrelevant in this context, because you don't require someone to be world class if what you need them to do is already better than the goalkeeper you're asking to be world class. So if you're saying Alisson is a world class keeper, which he is, but Alisson it can't play out from the back as an example, but Kelleher is better, straight away he can do what you need him to do. Straight away, like, he's already got that main thing or that main component that I need him to do. I'm not saying you swap, by the way. I'm definitely not saying that.
But what I'm saying is that, say, okay, let's do it in a very rudimentary way in FIFA style or however you want to do it. If you're saying Kelleher is a 10 out of 10 with his feet and Ali is a 9 out of 10 with his feet, the difference in there is what? Now, you may value that, you may weight that more proportionally to being good with your feet. But everything else that Ali gives you, for example, I'm drawing an example. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion. Still makes me feel that Alisson is a better keeper.
He's a 10. He's a 10 on all of them, by the way.
No. And like I said, it's just one of the. It's just like I said. I always go, and I know that they're different managers. I know this is a different time, and I get all of that. But it always brings me back to that Pep time, because I don't care what anybody says. Joe Hart was a better goalkeeper than Claudio Bravo, and he's a better goalkeeper than Ederson. Like, that level in terms of him being a goalkeeper, I felt like he was always better. But if you ask Joe Hart to start playing out from the back and passing it like a midfielder, he could not do that. Like, he looked uncomfortable as hell, and Pep knew that. Pep knew where his strengths laid. Like, he knew that he couldn't get that out of him, because that's just not the way. He's not that way inclined. Totally understandable. You just try to get better. Now, obviously, it's different, I'm assuming, just because we kind of already have a Kelleher here. So you may just try and keep him so that you have that option, kind of thing. And again, big up RJ. Ortega played 17 games for City this season and 1 loss in EFL only. Guardiola would never think of choosing Ortega over Ederson. He wouldn't need to, because Ederson is the perfect version of what he's looking for. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Like, he already has that keeper who is perfect at that. I don't think that Ortega is better than Ederson's the best goalkeeper in the world when it comes to playing out from the back. Literally, there's not one keeper better than him. Not at all. No keeper can pass the ball like him. Never seen it. Don't think I will see it for a very long time. Neuer is probably the closest I can think of. And I still don't think Neuer is as good as Ederson, who literally passes the ball like a midfielder. He's so comfortable. I've seen the guy dribble out, and I'm talking dribble out, play 1-2s in that position. Not as comfortable. I'm sorry, more comfortable than I've seen, say, and Neuer, who I've seen do the same thing. Even though Neuer was the first one to kind of do it. So that's why I'm saying it could be one of those type of situations. But again, listen, guys, I would play Alisson every single day of the week. I'm just throwing it out there. Just putting out the kind of feelers, because I don't want anyone to sit here come the end of the season, come the summer, and everyone's like, wow, how can he play Kelleher? Or why did he buy this new keeper? And I'll be like, well, maybe that's just the way he wanted to play. Like, Alisson can't do it, so let's just get someone who can. Yeah, I mean,
wasn't it?
I think also you gotta mention as well, even if you are great with your feet, the thing about Alice, we're not saying like Kelleher is a ter Stegen, because ter Stegen's incredible with his feet, but he can also save games on a high quantity or basis in a given season.
They got a big
the thing is with Alisson is he's a get out of jail free card. He is, because he saves so many high expected shots at goal, and that's what Arne Slot's got to weigh up. Is it worth taking out someone who is a get out of jail free card for your system, for someone that is better for your system? And that's what he's got to figure out, in my opinion.
I also feel with Alisson as well, you can play a different system at the back, because he's so reliable that the defenders know that they can do certain things, and he's always going to be there. Like, you know, and that's a big plus. Like, anyway,
we keep Alisson, don't sell him.
And I'm not saying I get rid of Ali by any chance. Okay, I never said that
man,
once.
Guys,
Ali's world class. By about 20%.
Let's not be sentimental, guys, man. Anyone can get it, but no. I agree. It'll be Ali every day. Let's move on to another position. I want to try and wrap this up in the next 10 if we possibly can. Big up everybody who's inside, by the way. Please make sure you're smashing the like button if you guys can. I think I'm one away from 1,200 subs. I don't know if it's there. If you haven't subbed already, I beg of you, please do so. We're still one away. So please do that.
Oh, gee, before we just move on, I just literally just popped into my head. Because this is an exact similar situation, and Bayern had the same thing, because when Neuer was starting to decline a little bit, they ended up buying Alexander Nubel, and Nubel was renowned for playing well with his feet, arguably better than Neuer. And then you saw how that turned out for Bayern. After a while, they just like, no, he's not that guy. He really isn't. So it could be the same case with Kelleher. We just don't know. We've got to see what happens in preseason, in my opinion, before we can make judgment on that.
Exactly. All right, let's start off with right back then. Are we just saying we throw Trent in there straight away? We got Gramsci saying Bradley right back. So I'm assuming he's got Trent in another position.
Trent.
I'll go with Trent as well.
Trent with Bradley as backup.
You know what? One thing I found interesting. You guys have probably seen the report. The news today from Fabrizio Romano, talking about Liverpool are in for centre backs this summer. So we're looking at potential new centre backs. I found that so joke, because I was like, where do you put? Where does Gomez fit in all of this?
Matip, that injury, man.
We need one more.
No. That like I said, that's fine. But where does Gomez fit? Like, what's his role next season? Like, I didn't understand what that meant. Unless he just becomes the utility man.
Well, he inverts the left back into centre back, doesn't he? That's what he's done. So Gomez is perfectly suited for that, for me.
Go on, Jerry. I think, or whoever that was, I couldn't tell who was just about to speak. Oh no, I thought it was Jerry. But I agree. I hear it. I think he just becomes that utility man anyway, to be honest with you, in that kind of left back, right back, centre back. You know, that's just what he's going to be, in my personal opinion. So we'll wait and see, man. We'll wait and see.
I got pelters for this, but since we brought Robbo back, we've looked all over the shop. Like, Gomez had the best season he's ever had in that position, and he gets dropped for no reason. Like.
Who would you? No, I think the problem is, I think he got dropped.
Mad.
I think he got dropped because when Robbo did come back in his first game, he was infinitely better than
he was really good.
Yeah, so it almost made it look like he has to just continue playing. So I understood it, but
Robbo was
I don't
fit. Robbo hadn't played all season. Like, of course he was going to be good.
No, but this is the point: is that regardless of that, he come in, had a good game, and what we were missing in that specific game, we can't get that from Gomez. Gomez isn't good bombing down the left. He can't do all of that. He can't do that. That's not his game. His game is more, I'll just invert, defensively solid. I'll do the passing, all of that kind of stuff, which is fantastic. And it was very good and steady. I agree with you. I don't feel like he should have been dropped completely. I do think that maybe Robbo come in here and there, but
yeah,
that's just, I guess, I don't know, man. Like, that's just Klopp and how the way he kind of wanted to work it, man. But if we had to go over left back and we can't buy it, and we're not talking signing a new one, just with the players that we've got here, because I really want to see what players can fit into this system before we start thinking about who stays and who goes. Who would you put there in this system, knowing that he inverts?
Gomez with Kwanzaa as backup.
What do you say, Ram?
I think so. If it's the case that he's got to invert, then you have to put Gomez in there, in my opinion. If it's the old-fashioned touchline left back, then Robbo. But it just depends on what he wants to do. And right now, it's just going to be, we're just going off what he does for with Feyenoord. It could be something completely different. He might be like, oh, I might do something. I might do this with Liverpool. We just don't know.
No, that's true. No, big up RJ. Yeah, I never want to see Gomez in the number 6 position ever in my life. Like that was horrible. That was actually horrible. We lose one, so we
did win both games. We did win both games.
I know, but come on, man.
As in BM, sorry.
No, just no. Like that's like me. That's like saying.
No, I know, mate.
Yeah. That's like saying, oh, you know what? Me as a 30-year-old playing in the Barcelona team of 2000 and whatever, we win those 2 games because Messi scores 7 goals in the 2 games. That's my record. Maybe we should keep G in the team. Nah, maybe we shouldn't keep me in the team. Maybe
you never know, G, man. You might be playing...
Oh no, don't get twisted. What the tiki taka? Oh, bro, like I'm not one of these. I'm like Jerry, you know. Jerry likes the intensity. Do you know what I mean? I know that's the type of player. You know what I mean? He's good with all of that. He can probably play. That
Jerry's a centre back, though.
Yeah, no, but I know he's good at that endurance. Me, forget endurance. Nah, we're popping the ball around, man. I ain't got time for running around like some headless chicken. I ain't got time for that. We ain't playing that kind of football. Gomez was becoming shaky at that time when Robbo came back, and since then has been shaky for 8 to 10 games. To be honest, Gomez not consistent, never has been, in my honest opinion. He has a purple patch, then it is over.
I think RJ makes a point, because at that point, at that time, Gomez wasn't playing well because he was getting. But I think it was after that Luton game, it was starting to see the cracks in Gomez's play, because I remember. I can't remember that right winger's name, but he had his number left, right, and center. Yeah. And after that, it was just like his performances were mediocre from there.
I'm not having that, guys. I'm sorry. Like Gomez was possibly our best player of the season when he came out of the team.
I feel like
seriously,
like, the way you are talking about him,
absolutely unbelievable.
Yeah. I know, but you have to understand. That little bad run of form coincided when Robbo came back and he played well.
It was the fact that Gomez had played about 10,000 minutes in about 5 weeks solid, like, was the reason why. Because Gomez has never done a run of games where he's played 7 in a row, like completely. He normally has a break out of them because he's always been injured. So he just got rinsed. He got absolutely rinsed, and he played dead rubber games that he did not need to play in, and then he got chucked into midfield. Look, he was the guy, like left side, right side, midfield, inverted, centre back, everything. He's played everywhere. Like, I'm surprised he wasn't playing in goal on stage. He's been absolutely rinsed this season, and he can't be our scapegoat. Sorry, can't be a scapegoat this season.
I'm not calling him a scapegoat.
He's always been a scapegoat, Gomez.
I'm not calling him a scapegoat. I'm just saying that during that time when Robbo came back, he was not in the great run of form that we saw.
Our form fell off a cliff when Robbo came back, by the way. That's just a fact. Just a fact.
Hey, look, I'm not here to argue. I'll keep Gomez there for the time being, because if I had to pick from the players we do have, I would. Obviously, I forgot to put Van Dijk.
He needs to stop shooting from 30 yards, though.
Yeah, and the crowd needs to
the
shut
cop
up.
needs to stop shouting shoot.
You need to stop doing that.
The issue I have with Joe Gomez, when Joe Gomez and Van Dijk were that partnership, and they played together at centre back that year and a bit, I thought that was by far the best centre back partnership in the world in England.
Yeah.
They were brilliant. Joe Gomez was absolutely magnificent. I was so happy that these guys were going to be our centre back partnership for the foreseeable future at that point. And I thought this guy's going to be incredible. The patella tendon tear that he had was a massive, massive injury, and that would be enough to knock anybody's career back. And it's really unfortunate. Since then, since he's come back, look, I really like Joe Gomez, but unfortunately for me, and it sounds harsh, but he makes brain farts so regularly, gets caught out of position so regularly, gets done. I don't want to be too hard on him because because of the feelings I had for him
when he was. Things you just said about him. I mean,
I know, but I just don't see him as a top level fullback or top level centre back anymore. And as a utility guy, I can hear it, but we're talking about someone who's going to play left back going forward in our strongest team. And
so who'd you go with then, Robbo instead?
If I have to pick of the two, I go with Robbo because I know more than what I'll get with Robbo. I think Gomez, he has some great games and he has some absolute shockers.
No, fair.
That's me.
Guys in the chat, let me know. All right, let's move on to the rest of the team. See if we can try and whiz through this, guys. I want to try and finish up in the next 10 minutes. And then, as I said, guys, you'll be redirected over to ends of stream. We'll be starting shortly. So make sure you guys stay where you are. You'll be redirected over there, and then you guys can jump in. So the other centre-back partner. Now, we know Matic keeping it moving. To my knowledge, anyway, I think he's keeping it moving. Konate can't stay fit, so he can't really be trusted. So that really just leaves Kwanzaa. So we've seen today, as I mentioned, Fabrizio talking about getting in a new centre back. So we don't know who that's going to be at the time of this video, right? If you had to pick from the players available, though, who would you go with? I'll go first anyway, just to kind of put out there. I would rather go Kwanzaa over Konate, purely out of I can trust him. I can't trust Konate as far as I can throw him. Like, I just feel like you've proven that you can't stay fit at all. So what am I going to do with that?
Depends on who we sign.
Yeah, I hear
if we sign a bad boy centre back, then it'll be him.
Yeah, but I'm seeing that Pacho guy. That's what I'm hearing. That Pacho, he might be someone.
Oh, from Frankfurt?
Yes, I believe so. Yes. Why do you say it like that?
I would hold caution on him. I don't rate any of the Frankfurt players after what I've seen of them this season, in my opinion.
I think it's the Bayer Leverkusen guy. I think he's Senegalese. I can't pronounce his name.
What's his name?
Or whatever his name is.
Kasanu.
Yeah.
I think that's what
Okay. Fair.
I think it's him.
He's Ivorian, yeah.
Yeah, for me, I'd play Konate if Trent's going to play right back, like actually right back, because that's okay.
I hear it. I hear it. We'll go.
But yeah, if he's not going to play right back, then who knows?
This is the problem when you've got someone like a Trent in your team, is that forget what the tactics tell you. What does he want to do? Because if he starts doing, his kind of thing, then becomes all over the gaff. Pacho, best defender in the Bundesliga, says Tony 777.
Nah, that's Tapsoba. And I don't rate Tapsoba like that, but it's Tapsoba.
Pacho's being looked at by Real Madrid, by the way. So we know how we've gone with them. I personally, I think Konate's the second best defender in the Premier League, behind Virgil van Dijk, for me. As an actual central defender that has to do a central defender's job. But when he's been given two roles at once, I think it's bonkers that he's even been able to do that.
The thing is, I agree with you, but that's almost. I feel like it's almost like me saying, "Well, I think Diogo Jota is one of the best strikers in the Premier League, probably like top 3." but you're never here, so I can't really put you in that conversation almost.
That is true.
Do you get what I'm trying to say? Like, I feel like Konate has proven time. And listen, next season it might change, but so far since RB Leipzig to Liverpool, bro, you cannot stay fit.
I was injury prone at RB Leipzig as well, by the way. That's no
and
surprise,
that tells
mate.
you the Moneyball thing. That tells you everything you kind of need to know. But this is my point: is that yes, Konate. Just for the sake of this, I'll put him here because he is, in terms of the actual defender, yes, he is the better defender.
I think it was like Arsenal and I think it was Arsenal and Man City. I don't think he lost to the header. He was like 15 out of 15 or something.
The thing is, that can
like
be a cute stat, but then when you're missing games against bloody United and Sheffield United, then I'm like, well, that stat was pointless now because I don't need it. Like, I need it now. Like, you're missing games.
You're getting played in dead rubber games. Like, you know,
well, you also
debate playing your players when they didn't need to be played, but yeah.
Me and G have had conversations about Konate, and the one thing I can't dispute, G, is that he does show some form of naivety. When
you've got the bozo moments. Yeah,
he's got if Konate, Kwanzaa is so much better with the ball. If Konate could just improve on the ball, like you see Kwanzaa, sometimes he's willing to do a Joel Matip and step out of defence and take a couple of players on. It's obviously a little bit high risk, but at the same time that disrupts the lines of the opposition. And if you can break those lines, all of a sudden you've got them panicking, you've got them moving around. And then he's also got a really good low drilled pass into midfield, Kwanzaa. And I feel that there were a few games early this season where I saw it from Konate, and I praised him highly because of it, because it's the first time I'd seen him consistently do that over a run of games. But then again, it seems like in recent games he's kind of fallen off, and we don't really see that. And I think we need someone who's comfortable on the ball in that position.
I am with Rick. That's why I'm more inclined to go with a Kwanzaa. And we've seen that Kwanzaa can defend too. Like, it's not like we've watched Kwanzaa before. He's not even really that good at defending, man. Like he's not that comfortable or whatever. Like, we've fully seen that he's actually a decent defender as well. So yeah, like
who would you get, G?
Sorry?
Who would you get in the market?
In the market. I'll sit down because I feel like the targets that I've wanted, they're not targets anymore because of the new manager, the way that we may play. So I'm going to have to sit down and think on it. Off the top of my head, though, like, I'd be looking just at someone who, I mean, I'll just, for the sake of it, I'll just say like Inacio, like just as a spitballing kind of choice. Or really, okay, tell a lie, really I'd want Scalvini from Atalanta. That's who I really would like to get as a defender.
Injury prone.
Mentioned his name.
Another injury prone player.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? Like, it is what it is.
Konate.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, I like Bastoni. I think he's okay. Like, I don't see that much hype, but I get why people do see the hype with him. But I don't feel like that hype is warranted at this current moment in time.
What about De Ligt?
Nah, I don't want De Ligt. I feel like De Ligt is a he kind of reminds me of Konate. Very rash, seems quite naive. Very good defender though. Very good.
Oh
defender.
no, he's fully. He gets too stuck in. Like he loves to slide around.
Yeah, and I'm just like, I don't need all of that. Like right now, do you get what I'm trying to say?
What about Toysin Abelardo, who's at Fulham, who's on a free transfer?
Nah, like again, the defender is going to need to be a quality defender. Like, I can't just have Toysin's good as like a backup, but I need someone who this person they're coming in.
So is he going to come straight in? So
yeah. Like, I don't care about like, that's not my.
I thought he was going to be a backup.
Hell no! Like, I need this guy to come in and literally be a player who I can say, this guy's going to come in and play. And then
it's got to be a Silva or a Diamante for me.
I'm good with either one. Silva, fantastic. I think he's actually even a bit of a leader at the back there. I'm good with that. Diamante, very good defender, quite athletic, strong, good in the 1v1s. I'm good with that. Van der Ven, no. I think he is someone who I would have looked at, but now I'm like, no, because he can only really play on that left-sided centre-back position. And
would you take Branthwaite?
He's going to Man City or Real Madrid. 100%.
Would you take Branthwaite, G?
Branthwaite, another good defender. I think Branthwaite would be more of a City kind of defender, though. Like, where we don't need you to be a sick defender. We just need you to be good enough. But can you play football? I feel like that's where he kind of fits in. Whereas at Liverpool, I'm like, bruv, the way that we defend, we just needed to be able to be a defender first and foremost.
Carlos Ancelotti loves Brathwaite, and he also brought him in from the youth team at Everton, by the way.
Yeah, and it wouldn't surprise me if
he'll go to Real Madrid.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if he ended up being there. But anyway, let's move on to the 2 double pivot positions, and then the forward line. I'm assuming we're going to go McAllister is one of those players, left or right. I'm not really bothered. I don't really care. You can go and we'll just pick that one for now. If you had to pick another player to go alongside him, based on the players that we have, who would it be? Remember, we've got Bajcetic, Curtis Jones, Endo. Who else can play there? Yeah. Is that it?
Just the double pivot.
Yeah. Who is that all we have? Curtis Jones, Bajcetic, Endo,
Gravenberch.
Oh, yeah, Gravenberch, I guess. Yeah, Gravenberch, if you want to throw him in that kind of position. Yeah, Christian, I'm kind of with you. Maybe we need a DM. Maybe that is a position that we desperately need. And yeah, Botman's a very good defender too. I like him, but he had that injury. He's a bit mad.
I think Bajcetic will work there. I think Bajcetic will get a good run as well, and Morton. I think he'll look at them.
Again, man. I feel like
I think he'll look at them next season. He will look at them.
But I mean, hey, look, who am I to say that Morton doesn't just come in and bang, just turns into this kind of player? I don't know if Morton. I've not seen anything from him to suggest that he's ready to go into a team that's challenging for Champions Leagues and top 4 races. He looks like someone who should maybe go to like a Crystal Palace. Like that would be the optimum level for him right now. And then, I agree with Michael. Like, you sell players like this. These are the kind of players that you just sell. They're not going to hold any real value to your team. So just sell him. Just literally just sell him. Doesn't mean he's a crap player, but what we were talking about some of these youngsters, like, we keep all of these guys. We tried to get them through the academy. Let's maybe start getting some money for these guys. Do you know what I mean? Like, let's maybe start doing that. But
that's what Edwards was brilliant at, mate. Do you remember Brewster? Dom Solanke.
Yeah, exactly. This is what I'm saying. Brewster, all of these kind of players. Like, let's maybe start doing things like this. But
I think a midfielder would fit really good in there as an Edison. I think he's due for a big move soon.
Yeah, potentially.
And he absolutely battered on midfield twice.
Potentially, but based on what we've got at the moment, who would you throw in there? Like right now,
Bajcetic or Endo.
Ram, what are you saying?
Probably say Bajcetic. I'm just thinking again. You had his midfield. They always had one destroyer, and there was Viper in it. So Bajcetic can do that role. He can play a little bit of football. I think he'll probably be the player we'll put forward. Or we might sign another player. Who knows?
That's what I'm thinking. But the reason why I'm doing it like this, where it's as opposed to saying, because then we could all sit here and be like, "Oh, let's put Mbappe left wing, and then we can put this."
We do realism, man.
You know what I mean? Like, sometimes I'm like, but what have we got even at the club? Because if we're all saying that this manager's coming in and he's going to give people chances, well, show me what a team would look like with no signings, and then we can probably, because we're now sitting here saying, maybe DM position, maybe left back position, maybe, do you know what I mean? All of a sudden now you can see where there might be potential holes, as opposed to we're doing the whole, we saw it online and then you're just like, oh yeah, maybe we should just buy a DM, and then we get mad when we don't buy a DM. Did we need a DM? Do you know what I mean? Like, it's that same old thing. And sometimes I just think, change that mindset, and trust me, you'll just look at it and see for yourself, and then you formulate your own kind of.
Gee, I got a bounce. Yeah, I appreciate you.
All love, man.
Big up, everyone. Big up, right? Big up.
Don't worry, guys. We'll be finished. We've been on it for a hot minute. We'll be finished very, very soon once we're done with this. K-Mac and Breck, in regards to we'll start off the 10 position, which I think is a very interesting position for Liverpool next season, because we never played with 10s, but we seem to have some. So let's see what they can do.
Dom.
Just
let him do what he's good at.
He's the obvious choice, and he's the person who should be in possession of that shirt.
No. I agree. I'm going to save that position. What about left wing?
I wonder why.
Again, I'm just going from left to right. Like, you know what I mean?
Do you want to go on that one? Do you want to go on that one? Mine's controversial. Do you want to go on that one?
No, go on. Who do you think is going to go left wing? Like with the players that we got.
I think Nunes should just go there or Gakpo. Seriously.
Wow.
Just end this target man crap. Please.
No, fair. I'm not. What do you think, Rek? Or what are you saying?
I think Diaz has done okay in recent weeks. He started well, obviously, in Liverpool on his Liverpool career, and then basically just hasn't been great ever since. But in the last half season, I think he's improved, and in his last five to six games, he's been good. I don't know. I would go with Diaz probably. I would go with Diaz.
All right, I split Diaz. If I had to pick between the two.
Diaz for me feels like a player that's playing for a move, like in the shop window. Like
that's the noise, isn't it? Even his dad's talking about it.
It's just weird. It's just weird, isn't it? It just feels weird.
His dad, as soon as his dad got released from being a hostage, he's been talking about his son going to Barcelona. What the fuck's going on? We will support you.
That's probably why he got released in the first place. Maybe they said, "Hey, listen, hey man, maybe we're gonna need you to move to Barcelona, and we can get things." But now pick up Lewis.
I get that Diaz is a really low paid player in the team. Like, I can't believe he's only on just over 50 grand. Like, when he's actually in that position. But I don't know, it's a bit crazy. Like, it's a bit crazy that he's not got a pay rise by now. Like, and he's still got 2 years left on his contract, so he's probably not going to get any. But it's a weird one because he's got the same agent. You can't make this up. He's got the same agent as Amarin, and look how well that went with his agent. Diaz really hasn't done himself any favors.
No, this is exactly where things get a little bit.
He's not going to try and start. He's not going to try and start second guessing Michael Edwards, is he now? After that debacle. Listen, Mr. Edwards. We want 200 grand or nothing. Okay, see you later on the transfer list. Bye bye.
Yeah, exactly. Again,
close the door. Close the door on your way out.
Listen, Edwards, I think is going to be a funny guy. I think Edwards is going to do something surprising this summer, which is going to throw people off. But we'll wait on that. We'll see. All right, we'll go with striker.
Jota for me.
Same.
Yeah, Jota.
Unanimous.
You know what? I said this a long time ago. Like, when we got rid of Bobby, Jota should have just played from day one. I don't think we'd had all these injury problems with him. He's just been stop-start all the time because he's just not known where he stands at the club. He should have just been playing straight away. Just play him straight away. See what happens. Like, he should have been number one, but then we got another guy in and another guy and another guy.
No, it's true.
It's not fair on him. Like, he's produced every single time.
I think, again, he falls into the Kanate mode. We can't trust you. That's where your problem is always going to lie. You cannot be trusted to play a full season. So do I waste time on that? As sick as I think he is, and I agree I would play him, the reality is at least Nunes is more available than Jota. So maybe and truly, I'm just going off whatever we possibly can. But we'll leave that for another day. Right wing.
Oh, Salah, 100%. Like, and if Trent's playing right back, that would be amazing. Like, it will help Salah as well.
The thing is, I'm going Salah. It's my show anyway. I'm going Salah regardless. I don't care what you people think. But the reality is, if I just look at it on the face of it, like someone asked before, like Salah doing like a different role or something like that. I wouldn't mind him doing a different role, but he can't do the same role that he's been doing now as a right winger. If he's gonna play right wing, I don't mind where he even plays, but if he's gonna play right wing, you can't do that same role, bro. Like there has to be a change in what your specifics are going to be. I can't have you doing the same thing because we've seen that you cannot do that anymore, and that's fine. You just got to reinvent yourself in a different way. That's all I'm asking for.
Don't his wingers tuck in and get further forward?
Yeah,
like
and
tuck
get
in like
close,
tens.
If you can get him,
and the right back bombs on.
Yeah, again, like I said, if that works, where you can have him in closer to goal, for me, I don't care where he plays. Like if he's playing, then he's playing. He's Liverpool's best attacker. Like that's the easiest thing. So I'm good with that. The problem is just don't have him doing the same things that he's been doing now. Mo Salah cannot do that anymore. We've seen that over time. We've understood why that's happened. That's fine. Just do something else. Do something else, and then I guarantee, you'll see a different Mo Salah. I don't think it'll be better. I think he's reached that peak and level now, but you'll just see something different. Because at the moment, if I just go based on the players that we have, I'm not playing Elliott there. I don't really feel like anyone else can really play that position. Like I know people say Gravenberch and Carvalho, but come on, man. These are like the low end kind of players that you're trying to play here.
I think Dom can play that role. I also think Diaz plays quite well on the right, by the way. He's on the right.
Diaz was a choice I thought about. Like I could potentially move Diaz there. Maybe you put Salah in the 10. But this thing where people I was trying to think of who else. So there was Gravenberch, there's Curtis Jones, there's Harvey Elliott, there's Carvalho. I was just like, I don't think any of them are that good enough to really play in the 10 position where I'll be like, yeah, that's your position. Obviously, that could change over time. And again, these are positions that I'm looking at Liverpool may potentially want to sign someone in because the quality that we have in certain areas just isn't as strong as I think it is.
The Carvalho thing's mad as well because he must have really got his hopes up about Amarin because he must have thought, oh, great, I'm going to be the next Pedro here, Gonzalez, I'm going to be a star. And now he's not coming. He's like, oh, no. I feel sorry for him, to be fair, because he was signed under false pretenses and he had he's got so much quality, such a good player in a 10 he could be. But there you go. I actually think Salah could play where Jota plays as well.
Everyone keeps talking about this number 9. Salah's not Ronaldo, Like I don't think he's that type of quality of player.
But he doesn't play a big man. He doesn't play a big man slot. Like if you watch Gamira's has a lot of the ball.
But he's a big man though. Like he is a big man.
But he doesn't play like a big man. He plays a bit like a Crouchy, if that makes sense.
No, but that's like because of the nature of the player, you are a big man. So whatever it is that you're doing it from a big man's perspective, as opposed to Salah isn't that. He is a small, nippy, likes to get in behind type of He's good with the ball to feet, strong.
Have you ever seen anyone get the ball off him?
No. Listen, I'm not saying that no one could.
No. He played that kind of role at Fiorentina as well. Like last couple of years of his, he'd do that break from midfield, from inside the half, and he was the lone striker with who was the guy? Was it Mudryk? No, not Mudryk. Who was the guy he had with him? There was him in Big Lad. Oh, what's his name? Is he Croatian?
Not Trevor.
It was Dzeko. It was Dzeko, wasn't it?
Dzeko. If you're talking Fiorentina, the Roma, it was at Roma he played with.
Roma,
Dzeko.
Sorry, Roma.
Yeah, Roma. Yeah. I remember thinking.
And they work really good together. Him and Salah.
Yeah, they were good. But that big man, small man kind of thing.
Yeah.
But guys, obviously that's just the team, just for the time being. Of course, when we get to the summer transfer window, we will see what is going on in regards to players and things like that. Obviously, we'll end it here. Just like to say thank you to both Rack, K-Mac, Ram, Jerry, Steve, Quasi, everybody who's kind of jumped in this evening, had their say in regards to Arne Slot coming in. I think it's an interesting one, and I think we're going to be having a lot more conversations centered around Slot anyway, moving forward as the summer kind of gets into gear, as we start seeing, pre-season, especially if we play our first pre-season game and we lose 3-0, I guarantee.
Don't know.
Has anyone said 10 slot yet?
Hussam said 10 slot yet? I know you're doing a therapy session after that first game that we lose 3-0. Don't worry, I want to be there, but I'm just saying, I know that's coming, bro. I just know. So it's just one of those kind of things. Sorry, came out. Go on.
Has anyone said 10 slot yet? Sorry.
Like I said, and obviously, listen, he's our manager. I don't want to do that, but
Hilarious.
We already know that if we do not do well, people have already got their memes saved in their drafts. I've spoken to someone who told me, he showed me 2 of the memes he's got. He said, when you lose against this team, I've got this meme. When you lose against that team, I said, how do you know we're going to lose? He said, it's just there just in case. I said, yeah, you see, it's already long. It's already long. So
the crazy thing, you expect this from rival fans, right? But there will be some of our own fans who'll have that shit loaded up, ready to go.
Exactly.
Haven't we got 2 preseason games in America against like Man United and Man City or something like that? And we got some really hard games for our 2 first preseasons.
Yeah. This is what I said.
Yeah.
Like I said,
is it Man City and Arsenal, or is it Man United and Arsenal?
I feel like it's someone in the chat. If you can let me know quickly.
It's definitely a big top.
Yeah.
Arsenal, United, great.
So and we already know, like, like I said, obviously it's just preseason, but I can just already see where this is gonna go, regardless. But we'll wait for that time anyway. Guys, make sure you subscribe. Obviously, of course, the KMAX channel. Please. I think yes, it's in the featured channel list. So make sure you head on over there. Rax, tell them where they can find you at. I know it's on social media.
Yeah, I'm not on YouTube, but you can catch me on at Raxing1 on Twitter, and you'll probably catch me in a few other people's streams and on Spaces and that kind of thing. So yeah, that's
dope. Big up everybody inside. I should be back. My eye has been killing me this entire stream, but hopefully it's fine by tomorrow. So 10:30 usual stuff. We're talking a couple bits and bobs. Did you
hit 1200? Gee, did you hit 1200?
Yeah. That's why I put it here at the bottom. Yeah. So big up everybody again for subbing to the channel. We've now surpassed the 1000 mark, and we're now 1-2. So next mark is 1-3. We're now on 1-3. So guys, if you haven't subscribed already, man, please make sure you do so. We're on the road to 1 million. So let's get it, man. Let's go. No, real talk, man. We're on the road to 1 million. Once I get there, then guys, I'll be doing giveaways. And when we get to 100,000, I'll give a giveaway. 200,000, I'll give money away. Yeah, it'll be a whole thing. But guys, please make sure you smash a like, make sure you share and subscribe to the damn channel. Let me just take this off before we get out of here. There we go. Like I said, guys, you'll be redirected over onto Enz's stream. He is live right now. So make sure you guys stay where you're at. Make sure you head on over there. G-Raid over there on Endman TV. And we are out.